To the quiet dreamers, the curious minds, and the gentle souls who find solace in the whispers of the past, this book is dedicated to you. May the gentle rhythm of Victorian London lull you into peaceful slumber, transporting you to a time of gaslit streets and quiet contemplation. It is a tribute to those who lived and breathed within the heart of that era, their stories echoing softly across the years. A testament to resilience, innovation, and the enduring human spirit. To the children playing hopscotch on cobblestone streets, their laughter carried on the breeze. To the factory workers, their hands calloused but hearts full of hope. To the ladies of leisure, their silks rustling in the grand ballrooms. To the thinkers, inventors, and reformers, their minds blazing with progress and change. This book is a quiet homage to them all, to their triumphs and struggles, their joys and sorrows, their lives interwoven in the rich tapestry of Victorian England. May the imagery of a bygone age soothe your mind, its whispers weaving a peaceful tapestry of rest. Let the gentle rhythm of hansom cabs on cobblestones, the faint aroma of coal smoke and blooming roses, and the echo of church bells in the pre-dawn hush guide you toward the tranquility of sleep. For within the pages of this book lies not only a journey into history, but also a passage to inner calm, a haven from the turbulence of the present. It is a sanctuary of sorts, a quiet retreat built upon the foundations of meticulous research, lovingly crafted to help you shed the weight of the day and drift peacefully into dreams. May the soothing cadence of the narrative envelop you like a warm blanket, shielding you from worry and preparing you for the restorative powers of sleep. And as you slumber, may the echoes of Victorian London linger gently in your subconscious, a soft and comforting presence that will keep you safe throughout the night. This dedication is a heartfelt wish for your peace, your tranquility, and the deep, restorative sleep you deserve. Embrace the calm and let the quiet rhythm of history guide you towards a tranquil slumber. Chapter 1. A Day in the Life of Victorian London. The first hint of dawn was a whisper, a pale ghost seeping through the grime-stained windows of countless London homes. It wasn't a sudden burst of light, but a gradual unveiling, a slow ascent from the deepest indigo of pre-sunrise to the faintest blush of rose on the eastern horizon. The air, still thick with the night's damp chill, held the lingering scent of coal smoke, a pervasive aroma that clung to the very fabric of the city, a testament to the relentless furnaces powering its industry. Even before the sun dared to peek over the rooftops, London was stirring. A faint scratching sound, almost imperceptible at first, began to weave itself into the quietude. It was the rhythmic rasp of chimney sweeps' brushes against brick, sound both ancient and utterly Victorian. These men, often young boys, were the city's silent sentinels, their work beginning long before the rest of London awoke, their movements a ghostly ballet played out against the soot-stained facades of the building. Each scrape and brushstroke was a testament to their arduous labor, their bodies already coated in the dust of 1,000 chimneys, their lungs filling with the fine particles that settled deep within. The sound, however, held a strange beauty, a counterpoint to the deeper, more resonant tones that soon followed. As the faint light grew stronger, the distant chime of church bells began to carry across the city, their melodious tones a solemn announcement of a new day. The bells, each with its unique timbre, created a symphony of sound, their reverberations echoing through the narrow streets and alleyways, piercing the smoky haze that clung stubbornly to the low-lying areas. It was a call to prayer, a summons to duty, and a gentle reminder of the underlying spiritual fabric of Victorian life, a faith that often found solace amidst the city's harsh realities. The bell's resonance provided a strangely calming effect, an almost mystical counterpoint to the harsh sounds of the working city that were about to begin their crescendo. Meanwhile, along the winding path of the River Thames, a different kind of awakening was taking place. The river, sluggish and dark during the night, now began to show signs of life. The first faint ripples disturbed the glassy surface as the oars of the early riverboats sliced through the water. These boats, often small and crowded, were the arteries of the city, carrying goods and people along the lifeblood of London. The rhythmic splash of oars, a constant, almost hypnotic cadence, joined the choir of the city's waking, a watery counterpoint to the scraping of brushes and the tolling of bells. The sounds were distinct, yet harmonized into a complex, almost chaotic yet strangely calming soundscape. The smell of wood smoke, thick and pervasive, intensified as workers began their daily journeys to the factories. Thousands of souls, their faces etched with the weariness of another day's toil, shuffled towards their destinations, their footsteps echoing on the cobblestones. Their clothes, often worn and patched, bore witness to the harsh realities of their lives, each thread a testament to the struggle for survival in a city of vast inequalities. The air, already heavy with the scent of coal smoke, now mingled with the sweat and the scent of unwashed bodies, a poignant olfactory representation of the working class's relentless pursuit of survival. As the city's rhythm grew stronger, another sound gradually made itself known. This was the low, rumbling drone of horse-drawn carts and carriages, the sounds of London's industrious heart beginning to beat faster. The rhythmic clatter of hooves on cobblestones, the creak of wheels against worn-out roads, the gruff shouts of drivers struggling to navigate the congested streets. This cacophony of urban activity painted a vivid auditory picture of the city's bustling life. Amidst the commotion, the occasional shrill cry of a street vendor hawking his wares would pierce the air, offering a brief yet jarring moment of individuality within the city's symphony of sounds. The streets, narrow and winding, gradually filled with a tide of humanity. From the well-to-do in their elegant carriages to the working class trudging on foot, every walk of life contributed to the vibrant tapestry of Victorian London. The scene was a vibrant mosaic, a kaleidoscope of human activity that both invigorated and overwhelmed the senses. The air, already thick with the aromas of smoke and sweat, now gained new dimensions. The sharp tang of fresh bread from a nearby bakery, the sweet scent of flowers from a window box, the pungent smell of refuse from overflowing bins. These contrasting smells created a heady, intense fragrance that served as a visceral reminder of the city's complexity and its vibrant yet sometimes overwhelming atmosphere. This olfactory tapestry was further enriched by the sounds of countless activities unfolding simultaneously. The rhythmic hammering of blacksmiths in their workshops contrasted with the melodic strains of a street musician's organ, his music echoing briefly through the crowded streets. The clatter of 1,000 footsteps on cobblestones, the hum of distant machinery, the cries of children playing, the hushed whispers of secrets exchanged in narrow alleyways, all of this created an almost overwhelming soundscape, a sonic testament to London's vitality. One could almost feel the city breathing, inhaling with the early morning rush hour, exhaling with the relative lull between the working day's shifts. The rhythm was organic, a powerful pulse that throbbed through the very foundations of this sprawling metropolis. It was a rhythm that dictated the lives of millions, a relentless beat that governed the ebb and flow of human activity. From the quiet contemplation of a solitary figure gazing at the rising sun to the frantic energy of the market's throngs, every moment was a part of this symphony of existence. Even the seemingly inanimate objects seemed to partake in this awakening. The gas lamps, their flames flickering in the growing light, cast long dancing shadows on the cobblestone streets, creating an ephemeral, theatrical effect. The buildings themselves, ancient and weathered, seemed to stir, their brick and mortar absorbing the early morning's moisture and slowly releasing the night's chill. This subtle interplay between the living and the inanimate created a feeling of pervasive animation, as if the very city itself had come to life, awakening to embrace a new day. But amidst the vibrancy, there were subtle notes of melancholy. The city's beauty was interwoven with its harshness. The elegant carriages contrasted sharply with the dilapidated tenements that crowded the poorer districts. The laughter of children at play was juxtaposed by the cries of those less fortunate. This interplay of beauty and squalor, of opulence and despair, made London a place of extremes, a city where the extremes of human experience collided in a heady, almost bewildering mixture. The sun, finally breaking through the smoky haze, cast its golden rays on the Thames, its reflection creating a shimmering path across the water. The sounds of the city, now at their peak, reached a crescendo of bustling activity, yet the river, calm in its majestic flow, provided a tranquil counterpoint to the urban energy. It offered a serene respite, a silent witness to the unfolding drama of the city's daily life. The river, in its quiet majesty, served as a constant reminder of the natural world's enduring presence, even amidst the relentless expansion and transformation of the human-made environment. It was in this juxtaposition of the natural and the man-made that the true spirit of Victorian London resided, a symphony of contrasting elements that defined the era's unique character. The sun, now fully ascended, cast a warmer light upon the city, illuminating the labyrinthine streets and revealing the true heart of Victorian London, its markets. Leadenhall Market, with its ornate ironwork and glass roof, was a symphony of sights, sounds, and smells. Mountains of vibrant fruits and vegetables spilled from overflowing wooden crates, plump crimson strawberries nestled beside crisp green lettuces, their colors a stark contrast to the dull gray of the cobblestones. The air hung thick with the aroma of ripening produce, mingled with the pungent scent of spices from faraway lands, cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg, creating a heady, exotic fragrance. Rolls of richly colored fabrics, silks shimmering like captured rainbows, lay draped over stalls, their textures a tempting invitation to the touch. The market hummed with a cacophony of sounds, the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer echoing off the nearby buildings, the raucous calls of street vendors hawking their wares, their voices a mesmerizing chorus, rising and falling with the rhythm of the marketplace. "Fine linens, ladies! The finest linens in all of London!" one vendor would shout, his voice booming over the general din. "Fresh bread, hot from the oven, a taste of heaven," another would cry, his words laced with a practiced enthusiasm. Children, their laughter a bright counterpoint to the market's bustle, darted between legs, their eyes wide with wonder as they observed the vibrant scene unfolding around them. Their small hands clutched pennies tightly, their faces alight with the promise of a sweet treat. The marketplace was a microcosm of Victorian society, a kaleidoscope of humanity. Elegantly dressed ladies, their parasols shielding them from the sun's rays, strolled through the market, their maids trailing behind them, laden with shopping baskets. Their hushed conversations, laced with polite murmurs, contrasted sharply with the raucous shouts of the street vendors. Working-class families, their clothes bearing witness to their daily toils, bartered shrewdly with vendors, their voices raised in a lively exchange, their accents a tapestry of regional dialects woven together by the common language of the marketplace. Immigrants, their faces etched with the hopes and anxieties of a new life, mingled with the native Londoners, their presence a testament to the city's diversity, a vibrant mix of cultures and traditions. Each face told a story, each interaction a small drama playing out in the heart of the bustling market. A young costermonger, his face smudged with grime and his clothes patched and worn, skillfully balanced a precarious stack of oranges on his head, his eyes darting from one customer to another, his movements precise and practiced. His nimble fingers counted coins with effortless speed, his sharp wit and ready smile charming his customers into purchasing his wares. His story, like that of countless others in the market, was one of resilience and hard work, a testament to the human spirit's ability to thrive, even in the face of adversity. Amidst the throngs of people and the vibrant displays of goods, there was a palpable energy, a sense of vibrant, chaotic life that permeated the air. It was a world of contrasts, the opulence of the richly dressed shoppers against the worn clothes of the working class, the sharp, sweet scent of ripe fruits against the earthy smell of damp cobblestones, the boisterous calls of vendors against the quiet chatter of family. This symphony of senses, this vibrant tapestry of life, painted a vivid and unforgettable picture of Victorian London's bustling heart. However, just a stone's throw away from the boisterous energy of the market, a different world existed. Hidden behind the imposing facades of grand buildings, tucked away in narrow, twisting alleyways, lay a quieter, more shadowed side of Victorian London. This was a world of hidden lives, a world where poverty and despair often held sway. One such alleyway, barely wider than a carriage, snaked its way through the heart of a densely populated district. The air here was thick with a different kind of aroma, a mixture of damp earth, refuse, and the lingering scent of unwashed bodies. The buildings lining the alley were dilapidated and crumbling, their brickwork stained with the grime of years of neglect. Windows, many of them broken, stared out like vacant eyes, offering glimpses into the cramped and squalid living conditions within. In this hidden world, laundry hung from lines strung between rickety buildings, its dampness clinging to the air, a testament to the ceaseless labor of the inhabitants. Children, their faces pale and thin, played amongst discarded refuse, their games a stark contrast to the carefree play of their more fortunate counterparts in the nearby parks. The sounds here were quieter, more hushed, a low murmur of conversations, the occasional cough, the distant wail of a baby. An old woman, her face etched with lines of hardship, and her clothes ragged and worn, sat hunched over on a doorstep, her hands gnarled and twisted by years of toil. Her eyes, though tired, held a certain resilience, a quiet strength, born from facing adversity with unwavering determination. Her presence, like that of the other inhabitants of the alley, was a poignant reminder of the stark inequalities that existed within Victorian society, a silent testament to the struggles faced by the city's forgotten underclass. The contrast between the bustling market and the quiet alleyway was stark and unsettling. It highlighted the vast chasm that separated the rich and the poor, the opulent and the impoverished. It was a reminder that for every grand mansion and elegant carriage, there were countless cramped tenements and families struggling to survive on the margins of society. The juxtaposition of these two worlds, so close yet so different, offered a profound insight into the complexities and contradictions that defined Victorian London. It served as a stark reminder that beneath the surface of the city's glittering facade, there lay a darker, more hidden world of hardship and struggle. The tranquil rhythm of the Thames, observed earlier, felt a world away from the silent desperation clinging to the walls of this forgotten alleyway. It was a world of quiet suffering, hidden from the casual gaze of those who traversed the city's more prominent thoroughfares, but ever present, a constant reminder of the invisible lives lived in the shadows of Victorian grandeur. Leaving the shadowed alleyways behind, we turn our attention to a different scene, a glimpse into the domestic life of a Victorian family. The home, situated on a quieter street, is a modest but respectable townhouse, its brick facade freshly cleaned, its window boxes overflowing with geraniums and petunias. The faint scent of coal smoke mingles with the floral aromas, a subtle reminder of the realities of Victorian living. Front door, painted a deep mahogany, opens into a small hallway, dimly lit by a stained glass window depicting a pastoral scene. A worn but polished runner protects the floorboards, its floral pattern a splash of color against the dark wood. The air within is noticeably warmer than the chill of the outside street, infused with the subtle scent of beeswax and polished wood, a testament to the meticulous care taken to maintain the home's cleanliness. Entering the parlor, we are struck by its quiet elegance. The room is furnished with comfortable, if somewhat worn furniture, upholstered in richly patterned fabrics, heavy velvets and damasks in deep blues, reds, and greens. A large, ornate fireplace dominates one wall, its mantelpiece adorned with family photographs encased in intricately carved frames, each a silent testament to cherished memories and family history. The photographs depict individuals in varying stages of their lives. Children with cherubic faces, young couples radiating hope, and older generations bearing the weight of years etched upon their faces. Each image is a window into a unique moment, a fragment of time captured and preserved. A polished mahogany table sits at the center of the room, its surface meticulously clean, ready for the evening's meal or perhaps a game of chess. Books, meticulously bound and arranged on shelves lining the walls, hint at the family's intellectual curiosity, providing silent company during quiet evenings. Titles, carefully chosen, range from classical literature to contemporary novels, reflecting a breadth of interests and a hunger for knowledge. Sunlight streams through the lace-cattoned windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air, a gentle reminder of the constant battle against the ever-present grime of the city. The windows themselves are spotless, reflecting the polished wood of the furniture and the lively colors of the patterned upholstery. Looking closely, one might notice slight imperfections, a small scratch on the table, a faint tear in the upholstery, subtle reminders of daily wear and tear. Yet these imperfections only add to the home's comfortable and lived-in feel. The family, we find, is comprised of a mother, father, and 2 children, a lively boy of 8 and a more reserved girl of 12. The mother, dressed in a simple but elegant cotton dress, is engaged in needlework, her deft fingers effortlessly guiding the needle through the fabric. Her movements are rhythmic and calming, the soft click of the needle against the fabric providing a gentle soundtrack to the quiet domesticity of the room. The delicate embroidery she is creating, a small detail for a pillowcase, speaks of her meticulous nature and her quiet devotion to her family. The father, dressed in a dark suit, his attire bearing the faint scent of pipe tobacco, sits in a comfortable armchair reading a newspaper. He occasionally pauses to look over his spectacles, his eyes carrying a weary but contented expression, the weight of daily work eased by the quiet comforts of his home and family. The newspaper, its pages full of news from around the world and local gossip, is a window into the larger social and political landscape, a connection between the domestic sphere and the bustling world outside. The children, both dressed in simple but clean clothing, are engaged in their own activities. The boy, bursting with energy, is building a miniature castle out of wooden blocks, his focused expression suggesting an important undertaking. The girl, displaying a more studious inclination, sits at a small table, her nose buried in a book, lost in a world of her own making. Their individual personalities, clearly expressed through their chosen activities, create a balanced atmosphere of quiet industry. The air is filled with the quiet sounds of domestic life, the soft rustling of fabric, the gentle turning of pages, the quiet clinking of sewing scissors. These sounds, soft and unobtrusive, create a tranquil ambience, a stark contrast to the noise and chaos of the city outside. The room, bathed in the gentle warmth of the afternoon sun, feels safe and comforting, a haven from the relentless pressures of Victorian life. Later, as the day draws to a close, the family gathers for dinner. The table, once bare, is now adorned with a simple yet carefully prepared meal. A steaming pot of stew, fragrant with herbs and vegetables, sits at its center, accompanied by crusty bread, a simple salad, and a bowl of fruit. The meal, while not extravagant, is wholesome and nutritious, a testament to the family's careful budgeting and the mother's culinary skills. During dinner, conversation flows freely, punctuated by bursts of laughter and moments of quiet reflection. The talk ranges from the day's events, the boy's triumph in completing his miniature castle, the girl's progress in her reading, and the father's experiences at work, to broader issues, including local gossip, political news, and their hopes for the future. The shared meal is a time for bonding, a ritual that strengthens the family's connection and reinforces their sense of belonging. As darkness descends, gas lamps illuminate the streets outside, casting a warm glow through the windows of the modest house. The family settles into their evening routines, the father reading aloud from a book, the children preparing for bed, and the mother finishing her needlework. The soft glow of the lamps creates a warm and intimate atmosphere, enhancing the feeling of comfort and security that permeates the house. The quiet hum of conversation continues, sometimes drifting into silence, punctuated only by the occasional sigh or soft chuckle. This domestic scene, so seemingly simple, offers a glimpse into the complex fabric of Victorian family life, revealing hopes and fears, joys and sorrows. It is a world of quiet routines, simple pleasures, and unwavering love, a small haven of peace and contentment, nestled amidst the bustling energy of Victorian London. The family's gentle routines, though mundane in their specifics, present a quiet narrative of resilience, a testament to the ability of the human spirit to find joy and contentment, even amidst the significant challenges of the era. The gentle creak of the floorboards, the soft murmur of voices, the warmth of the gaslight, these are the subtle details that combine to create an image of peace and contentment, a small pocket of calm in a city constantly in motion. The simple details are what truly bring the scene to life. The comforting weight of a familiar blanket, the comforting scent of lavender in the mother's sewing basket, the gentle rhythm of the father's reading voice. These details paint a picture of a peaceful Victorian evening, an intimate glimpse into a life lived simply, but certainly not without its fullness and meaning. The faint sounds of the city, distant and muffled, seem to melt away as we focus on this quiet domestic scene, a world removed from the harsh realities of poverty and inequality that we witnessed earlier. This quiet sanctuary, however, exists alongside those realities, a constant reminder that within the vast and varied landscape of Victorian London, there were pockets of peace and quiet, of family and love. This is the heart of Victorian domesticity, a world of quiet resilience, offering a glimpse into the humanity of this often misunderstood era. The gentle hum of the domestic scene fades, replaced by a different kind of sound, a cacophony of coughs, cries of children, and the constant murmur of a multitude pressed together. We leave the quiet comfort of the middle-class home and venture into the labyrinthine streets that snake through the poorer districts of London. Here the gaslight struggles to pierce the perpetual gloom, casting long, distorted shadows that dance and writhe like phantoms in the alleyways. The air itself is heavy, thick with the stench of unwashed bodies, coal smoke, and decaying refuse. This is a world drastically different from the carefully curated domesticity we witnessed earlier, a stark reminder of the immense chasm that separated the wealthy from the impoverished in Victorian London. The buildings here are not the proud townhouses of the wealthier neighborhoods, but rather towering tenements, their brick facades grimy and crumbling. Windows, many of them broken or boarded up, stare blankly out onto the street, offering glimpses into cramped interiors where families huddle together, seeking warmth and refuge from the unrelenting elements. Overcrowding is rampant. Multiple families often share a single room, sleeping in shifts on makeshift beds, and sharing meager resources. The air within these cramped spaces is thick with the stench of sickness and poverty, a constant threat to the well-being of those who reside within. The walls, stained with grime and damp, barely conceal the squalor within. Rats scurry freely through the cracks and crevices, their presence a constant reminder of the unsanitary conditions. Sanitation is virtually non-existent. Filthy water runs through the streets, mingling with human waste and other refuse, creating a breeding ground for disease. The smell is almost unbearable, an assault on the senses that lingers long after one has left these dismal streets. Cholera, typhoid, and other infectious diseases are commonplace, their deadly grip constantly threatening the lives of the city's poorest inhabitants. These diseases often strike without warning, devastating families and communities, leaving behind a trail of grief and despair. The constant threat of illness casts a pall over every aspect of life, a looming specter that hangs heavily in the air. The sounds of suffering are ever present, the labored breaths of the sick, the cries of grieving families, and the constant low hum of discontent. Children, many of them gaunt and pale, wander the streets, their faces etched with a weariness far beyond their years. They are often forced to work long hours in factories and workshops, their small bodies subjected to grueling labor in unsafe conditions. Their innocence is stripped away, replaced by a harsh awareness of their own vulnerability and the unrelenting realities of poverty. Their clothing is ragged and torn, their bodies often malnourished, bearing the visible scars of their harsh existence. They scurry through the streets, their eyes darting nervously, always aware of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. They beg for scraps of food, their small hands outstretched, their pleas a heartbreaking testament to the desperation of their situation. The contrast between the opulence of the wealthy and the abject poverty of the poor is almost unbearable. Just a short distance away from these squalid tenements stand grand mansions, their elegant facades gleaming under the gaslight. The mansions are testaments to accumulated wealth and social power, their interiors filled with exquisite furnishings, fine art, every luxury imaginable. The wealthy residents, oblivious to the suffering that exists just beyond their gates, enjoy lives of comfort and privilege, indulging in lavish meals, grand balls, and leisurely pursuits. The sheer disparity between these two worlds is a stark reminder of the immense social and economic inequalities that shaped Victorian London. The sheer scale of poverty is overwhelming. Thousands upon thousands of people live in conditions that are barely fit for human habitation, their lives a constant struggle for survival. Families are torn apart by poverty, disease, and the unrelenting pressures of daily life. Hope is a fragile thing, easily crushed under the weight of despair. Yet, amidst this crushing poverty, there is a resilience, a quiet dignity in the face of adversity. People find ways to help one another, sharing what little they have and creating small pockets of community within the larger chaos. The sounds of the city intensify as darkness falls. The gas lamps cast an eerie glow, highlighting the grime and the despair. The sounds of desperation and struggle mingle with the distant sounds of revelry and celebration from the wealthier parts of town. The city seems to hold its breath, a palpable tension in the air between the extremes of wealth and poverty, luxury and squalor. The harsh realities of poverty and inequality cast a long shadow, a stark contrast to the peaceful domesticity we witnessed earlier. The contrast is not merely geographical. It is a profound and enduring moral chasm, reflecting a society grappling with the tensions and contradictions of its own rapid industrialization and social stratification. The disparity is not simply a matter of economics. It's a matter of access to health care, education, justice, and even basic human dignity. The poverty of Victorian London was not merely a lack of material possessions. It was a deprivation of opportunity, a systematic denial of access to resources, and a lack of social mobility. The sheer number of individuals living below the poverty line was staggering. Families relied on meager wages, often insufficient to provide adequate food, shelter, or clothing. The consequences were severe, leading to malnutrition, disease, and high infant mortality rates. Many families resorted to begging, scavenging, and petty theft, merely to survive. The lack of sanitation led to widespread outbreaks of infectious diseases, sweeping through impoverished neighborhoods like wildfire. Cholera, typhoid, and typhus claimed countless lives, often decimating entire families. The unsanitary conditions fostered the proliferation of vermin, increasing the risks of disease and contributing to the overall squalor. Hospitals were often overcrowded and under-resourced, leaving many sick and injured without adequate care. The mortality rate, particularly among children, was shockingly high. The experiences of children in poverty were particularly harrowing. Many were forced into child labor, working long hours in dangerous and unhealthy conditions for minimal pay. They were deprived of education and opportunities for social mobility, their futures bleak and uncertain. They were vulnerable to exploitation, abuse, and neglect, their childhoods stolen by the harsh realities of poverty. Many children died young, victims of disease, malnutrition, or accidents in the workplace. Their stories, often untold, serve as a poignant reminder of the human cost of poverty and inequality. The contrast between the privileged lives of the wealthy and the desperate struggles of the poor serves as a sobering reflection on the social inequalities inherent in Victorian London. The immense wealth accumulated by a small elite existed alongside widespread poverty, creating a stark division between two very different worlds. The opulence of the wealthy often served to highlight the abject poverty of the masses, creating a sense of injustice and resentment. The visible disparity was a constant reminder of the unequal distribution of resources and opportunities. This immense gap between the rich and the poor fueled social unrest and discontent, shaping the political and social landscape of the era. Evenings in the poorer districts were often far from quiet. The sounds of the city, rather than melting away as in the earlier domestic scene, intensified as darkness fell. The streets echoed with the shouts of street vendors, the cries of children, and the rumble of carts and carriages. The constant activity, even at night, gave the impression of a relentless city that never slept. But beneath the surface hum of activity lay a deep-seated undercurrent of desperation, a constant struggle for survival that shaped every aspect of life. For the poor, the night offered little respite. It was a continuation of the daily grind, a constant fight against hunger, cold, and disease. The city's shadows hid not only the grime and the poverty, but also a silent desperation, the unseen struggles of those living on the margins of society. The quiet murmur of contentment from the earlier domestic scene felt like a distant memory, a world away from the harsh realities of life in the impoverished districts of Victorian London. The city was a tapestry woven from stark contrasts. Quiet domesticity alongside crushing poverty, opulence side by side with abject squalor. It was a city of extremes, a reflection of a society grappling with rapid industrialization and the complex social consequences that ensued. The silence of the night in these areas was filled with a different kind of sound. The unspoken anxieties, the unheard pleas, the silent suffering of those whose lives were defined by the shadows of poverty and inequality. The relentless energy of the city begins to ebb as the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of fiery orange, soft rose, and gentle lavender. The air, still thick with the coal smoke and the lingering scent of 1,000 different lives, softens, a subtle shift in temperature announcing the approach of twilight. We turn our backs on the shadowed alleys and the grim tenements, leaving behind the cacophony of the poor districts and walking towards the majestic expanse of the River Thames. As we approach the riverbank, the air grows cleaner, a perceptible difference from the fetid atmosphere of the slums. A gentle breeze carries the scent of damp earth and river water, a refreshing contrast to the pervasive smells of poverty and industry. The sounds of the city, the rumbling carts, the cries of vendors, the distant rumble of factory machinery, gradually fade, replaced by the soothing lapping of water against the riverbanks and the distant cries of gulls. The Thames at this hour is a spectacle of breathtaking beauty. The setting sun casts a golden glow upon its surface, transforming the murky water into a shimmering expanse of liquid gold. The reflections of the sky dance and shimmer on the water, creating a breathtaking tapestry of color and light. The river itself is a bustling artery of the city, even at this late hour. Barges laden with goods slowly make their way downstream, their lights twinkling like fallen stars on the darkening water. Small rowboats, propelled by the rhythmic strokes of their oarsmen, glide silently across the surface, their occupants likely enjoying the tranquil beauty of the evening. The bridges, spanning the river, Majestic structures of iron and stone stand silhouetted against the fiery sky, their arches framed by the vibrant colors of the sunset. On the banks of the river, people stroll, their silhouettes elongated and distorted by the fading light. Couples walk hand in hand, lost in whispered conversations. Families gather, enjoying the last moments of daylight before retreating to their homes. The atmosphere is one of quiet contemplation, a shared appreciation for the ephemeral beauty of the sunset. Even the air feels different here, calmer, cleaner, offering a temporary escape from the relentless pressures of daily life. The scene is a stark contrast to the harsh realities of the city's poorer districts. Here, there is no stench of poverty, no sounds of desperation, only the gentle murmur of conversation, the lapping of water, and the ever-present sounds of nature blend together to create a soothing soundtrack to the end of the day. The grand houses lining the embankment, their windows glowing warmly, offer a glimpse into the lives of the city's wealthy inhabitants. Their elegant facades, lit by the soft glow of the setting sun, stand in stark contrast to the crumbling tenements we witnessed earlier, a physical representation of the vast chasm that separates the rich from the poor. But even amidst this elegance, there's a sense of quiet reflection. The wealthy, too, are part of this shared experience of the sunset, their lives perhaps momentarily touched by the same beauty that soothes the souls of the working classes. The sunset, in its impartiality, unites all who witness it, regardless of their social standing. It is a brief moment of shared experience, a fleeting respite from the harsh realities of Victorian London. The reflections of the city lights begin to shimmer on the water's surface, adding another layer to the breathtaking spectacle. Gas lamps along the embankment cast a soft golden glow, creating a magical ambiance. The city lights, reflecting in the waters of the Thames, transform the river into a shimmering ribbon of light, stretching as far as the eye can see. The effect is mesmerizing, almost hypnotic, testament to the city's vibrant energy even as night descends. As the last sliver of the sun disappears below the horizon, the sky transitions into a deep, velvety blue, dotted with countless stars that begin to emerge one by one. The city's lights become increasingly prominent, transforming the cityscape into a breathtaking nocturnal panorama. The air cools further, a gentle breeze carrying with it the whispers of the night. The sounds of the city become quieter now, the day's relentless energy replaced by a more subdued hum. The scene is incredibly peaceful. The sounds of the Thames are now the dominant soundscape, the gentle lapping of the water against the riverbank, the soft murmur of the current. A sense of tranquility washes over you, a calming balm after the day's journey through the contrasts of Victorian London. The sunset has provided a transitional period, a gentle bridge between the day's activities and the quiet stillness of the night. It has offered a moment of respite, a chance to reflect on the day's events, the beauty and the hardship, the opulence and the poverty, the joy and the sorrow, all woven together into the vibrant tapestry of Victorian London life. The air is now crisp and cool, carrying with it the faint scent of river water and the distant aroma of wood smoke from a nearby chimney. The stars, now fully visible, twinkle brightly in the clear night sky, their light reflected in the dark waters of the river. The city's lights paint a stunning backdrop to the celestial spectacle. The overall atmosphere is one of serene contemplation, a feeling of peace and quiet reflection that washes over you, easing the mind and preparing it for the restful sleep that awaits. The gentle rhythm of the water against the embankment, the soft breeze, the distant sounds of the city blending together into a soothing soundscape, and the twinkling stars serve as a natural lullaby, inviting you to embrace the quietude of the evening and prepare for the stillness of night. It is a moment of quiet contemplation, a space to reflect upon the day's events, the striking contrasts, and the unexpected beauty found within the bustling heart of Victorian. This tranquil scene, a stark contrast to the bustling, often harsh reality of the day, offers a sense of peace and serenity, It's a visual and auditory balm, a comforting counterpoint to the earlier descriptions of poverty and social inequality. The sunset over the Thames provides a sense of closure, a tranquil ending to a day that has been filled with a range of human experiences, highlighting both the splendor and the suffering of this fascinating era. The image lingers, a gentle reminder of the beauty that can be found even amidst the chaos and complexity of urban life. The colors in the sky slowly fade, the vibrant hues of the sunset giving way to softer shades of twilight. The stars become brighter, their light more intense in the deepening darkness. The city's lights continue to reflect in the water, creating a magical ambiance. The overall feeling is one of peacefulness, a gentle transition from the light of day to the darkness of night. The scene is meticulously detailed to promote a feeling of calm and relaxation. The gentle sounds of the river, the soft breeze, and the calming colors of the twilight sky all work together to create a soothing atmosphere designed to ease the listener's mind and prepare them for sleep. The narrative is slow and deliberate, guiding you through the scene step by step, allowing the listener to fully immerse themselves in the tranquil atmosphere. The focus on sensory details, the sight of the sunset, the sounds of the river, the feel of the cool evening breeze, helps to create a deeply immersive and relaxing experience. The aim is to transport the listener to another time and place, offering a peaceful escape from the stresses and strains of modern life. As the darkness deepens, a sense of stillness descends upon the river. The gentle lapping of the water, the distant murmur of the city, and the soft chirping of crickets create a peaceful soundscape, perfect for drifting off to sleep. The experience is designed to be calming and restorative, leaving the listener feeling relaxed and refreshed. The chapter concludes with a lingering sense of tranquility, preparing the reader for a peaceful night's rest, a quiet reflection on the day, and a gentle journey into the dreams of a bygone era. The memories of the day's contrasting scenes remain, but they are softened by the peaceful serenity of the Thames at sunset. The stark differences are still present in the mind, but the pervasive beauty of the natural world offers a sense of calm, a peaceful acceptance of the complex realities of life in Victorian London. The reader is left with a sense of the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit and the continuing beauty that exists within even the most challenging circumstances. The peace of the sunset lingers, a promise of quiet reflection and rest. Chapter 2: Victorian Innovations and Contrasts. The quietude of the Thames at sunset slowly gives way to the burgeoning sounds of the city reawakening for the night. But this night holds a different rhythm, a pulse distinct from the daytime bustle. It is a rhythm driven by steam, by iron, by the relentless expansion of the railway network that is reshaping Victorian England at a breathtaking pace. Leaving the serene banks of the river, we find ourselves drawn towards the heart of the city's industrial pulse, the clang of metal on metal now a more prominent sound than the gentle lapping of waves. We are approaching a railway station, Euston perhaps, or Paddington, grand edifices of brick and iron that stand as monuments to the era's technological prowess. The air here is thick with a different kind of smoke, a greasy, acrid scent, a blend of coal smoke and the oily fumes of the engines themselves. This is the smell of progress, raw and potent, mingling with the scent of coal dust clinging to the clothes of weary travelers. The station itself is a spectacle of controlled chaos. A symphony of sounds assaults the senses. The rhythmic hiss of escaping steam, screech of metal wheels on iron tracks, the clatter of luggage being loaded onto trolleys, the shouts of porters guiding passengers through the throngs of people. The sheer scale of the enterprise is staggering. Hundreds, if not thousands of people move through the station at any given hour, a river of humanity flowing in and out of the cavernous space. Each person carries a story, a journey, a destination. They are merchants and laborers, aristocrats and servants, families and individuals, all bound together by the common thread of this new transformative technology. The very architecture of the station reflects the power and ambition of the age. Vast glass roofs allow a flood of light to pour into the interior, illuminating the intricate ironwork that supports the structure. The platform stretches far as the eye can see, lined with sleek carriages ready to depart, their polished surfaces reflecting the myriad lights that illuminate the scene. It is a space of both immense grandeur and functional efficiency, a testament to the ingenuity of Victorian engineers and the transformative potential of the railway. Observe the expressions on the faces of the travelers, the excited anticipation of those embarking on new adventures, the weary relief of those returning home, the anxious apprehension of those parting from loved ones. The railway is not merely a means of transportation, it is a catalyst for emotional upheaval, a facilitator of both joy and sorrow. The platform is a stage where the dramas of countless lives intersect, creating a microcosm of Victorian society itself. The arrival of a train is a momentous occasion. The air vibrates with the approaching rumble of the engine, the sound growing in intensity until it erupts into a cacophony of hissing steam, screeching brakes, and the thunderous roar of the train as it slows to a halt at the platform. Passengers surge towards the carriages, a torrent of bodies rushing to disembark or board, their movements directed by the shouts of porters and the whistle of the station master. The platform is now a swirling vortex of activity, a breathtaking display of organized chaos. Step closer to the engine itself. Feel the intense heat radiating from its massive boiler. Hear the rhythmic thump of its pistons driving the colossal wheels. Smell the acrid tang of coal smoke and burning oil, an odor that permeates every aspect of the station, a constant reminder of the power and force that drives this machine. It's a raw, untamed power, yet it is harnessed, controlled, directed towards the singular purpose of moving vast quantities of people and goods across the land. This is a raw expression of Victorian industrial might. Yet, for all the raw power and industrial strength, there is a strange poetry in the motion of a train. The rhythmic clatter of the wheels against the tracks, the steady pulse of the engine, creates a hypnotic effect. The landscape flows by in a blur of greens and browns, blurring into a painting of motion and speed. The journey itself becomes a meditative experience, a moment to reflect on the changes sweeping across the nation. The impact of the railways on daily life was profound and far-reaching. Towns and cities sprung up around railway junctions, their economies fueled by the increased trade and commerce facilitated by the new transportation network. The travel time between major cities was reduced dramatically, breaking down geographical barriers and fostering a greater sense of national unity. People who had once been isolated in their rural communities suddenly found themselves connected to the wider world, exposed to new ideas and experiences. But the railways were not without their downsides. The construction of the lines led to the displacement of communities and the disruption of traditional ways of life. The relentless pace of industrialization created new social problems, such as overcrowding in urban areas and increased pollution. The railways themselves were dangerous places, with accidents and fatalities a recurring feature of life in the age of steam. The contrasts are striking. The grandeur of the railway stations juxtaposed with the squalor of the slums that sprang up around them. The speed and efficiency of the trains contrasted with the slow, arduous journeys of those who could not afford to travel by rail. The promise of progress and opportunity set against the reality of hardship and inequality. The railway, therefore, is not just a technological marvel, but a symbol of the complexities and contradictions of Victorian society. As the night deepens, the pace at the station begins to slow. The initial frenetic energy wanes, leaving a quiet hum in its wake. The last trains depart, their lights trailing like fiery embers into the darkness. The station, once a hive of activity, settles into a quiet stillness, a temporary respite before the next dawn brings another wave of passengers and another flurry of activity. The echoes of the steam whistles and the rumble of the trains linger in the air, a testament to the relentless progress of the era, and a reminder of the profound impact this technology has had and continues to have on the fabric of the nation. The quietude offers a chance to reflect on the day's journey, a journey through the sights, sounds, and smells of the Victorian railway age and the dramatic changes it wrought on the lives of countless people. The story of the railways is woven into the very fabric of Victorian England, a reminder of an era defined by its contrasts, its technological breakthroughs, and the enduring human spirit that navigated the challenges of a rapidly changing world. The lingering sounds of the night, a fading echo of the railway's power, lull us into a state of peaceful contemplation, preparing us for the restful sleep that awaits. The memories of the day, the beauty of the Thames, the relentless energy of the railway station, the stark contrasts of Victorian life remain, interwoven with the sense of quiet acceptance and enduring hope that defines this remarkable historical period. The rhythmic chugging of the departing train fades into the night, leaving behind the lingering scent of coal smoke and the echo of 1,000 hurried footsteps. Yet, the technological marvels of Victorian England were not confined to the railway lines. A different kind of illumination now takes center stage: gaslight. As darkness fully descends, a golden glow begins to bloom across the city, emanating from thousands of gas lamps that transform the familiar streets into a breathtaking spectacle. These lamps, a relatively new innovation, replaced the flickering uncertainty of candles and oil lamps, casting a soft, hazy light that painted the cityscape in a warm amber hue. This was a revolution in illumination, offering a level of safety and convenience previously unimaginable. The streets, once shrouded in dangerous darkness after nightfall, were now bathed in a reassuring glow, allowing for a more extended period of evening activity and commerce. The previously perilous journeys home were made safer, the shadows that harbored thieves and muggers now held at bay by the pervasive light. Observe a bustling street scene in the heart of London. The gaslight illuminates not only the cobblestones, but also the faces of the people thronging the pavements. The hawkers selling their wares, the families taking leisurely evening strolls, the carriages moving slowly through the crowds. The light catches the polished brass of a lamplighter's lantern as he makes his rounds, carefully tending to the flames, a silent guardian of the city's artificial night. The soft glow highlights the elegant architecture of the buildings, casting long shadows that dance and sway with the movement of the people. The scene pulsates with a quiet energy, a unique ambiance created by this new form of artificial light, both practical and beautiful. The gaslights were a symbol of progress, a testament to humanity's ability to conquer the limitations of nature and extend the day into the night. But their glow also reveals the stark inequalities of Victorian society. The grand houses with their multiple gas lamps stand in stark contrast to the dimly lit alleyways and overcrowded tenements, where gaslight, if present at all, was often a meager flicker. The invention of the telegraph further revolutionized communication. Before its arrival, news traveled at the speed of a horse or a ship. Now, messages could traverse vast distances in a matter of minutes, transforming business, politics, and personal lives. Imagine the thrill of receiving a telegram, a thin, crisp sheet of paper bearing a message from a loved one miles away. The terse yet significant words delivered with breathtaking speed represented a profound shift in human connectivity. News of births, deaths, marriages, and business deals zipped across the country, knitting the nation together in a way previously impossible. The click-clack of the telegraph's apparatus became a ubiquitous sound, a rhythmic pulse at the heart of Victorian society. Telegraph offices sprung up in towns and cities across the land, becoming vital hubs of communication and information. This technology, with its rapid transmission of news, was crucial for both the functioning of government and commerce and the forging of personal connections. The impact on daily life extended far beyond the mere transmission of messages. The telegraph enabled faster financial transactions, leading to more efficient markets, Newspapers could receive updates in real time, providing their readers with more current and comprehensive information. Even the military benefited from the speed and efficiency of the telegraph, allowing for better coordination and response during times of conflict. Yet, the telegraph also presented its challenges. The network's complexity required skilled operators to transmit and receive messages, creating a specialized workforce. The cost of sending telegrams could be prohibitive for many, creating a further division between the wealthy and the poor. The very speed of communication could sometimes create its own chaos, with messages arriving in a flurry, leaving recipients struggling to process the flood of information. While the telegraph brought the world closer, the camera offered a unique perspective on the world around it. Early photography, still in its infancy during the Victorian era, captured moments in time with remarkable detail. The daguerreotype, an early photographic process, produced incredibly lifelike images on silver-plated copper sheets. These pictures, though requiring long exposure times, offered a level of realism never before achieved. Imagine the painstaking process of setting up the camera, ensuring complete stillness for several minutes as the image gradually emerged on the sensitive plate. Each portrait, each landscape, captured a frozen moment of time, preserving not just visual detail, but also a sense of atmosphere and emotion. The impact on society was immediate and profound. Photography provided a new medium for portraiture, allowing individuals and families to capture and preserve their likeness. Photographs moved beyond mere portraits, extending to documentary work, capturing scenes of daily life, historical events, and natural landscapes. These images provided a window into the past, a glimpse of a society in the throes of rapid transformation. The use of photography in various industries, from scientific research to architecture, greatly expanded. It was a powerful tool for observation, measurement, and record-keeping, revolutionizing various professional fields. Yet, the limitations of early photographic technology were significant. The cost of equipment and supplies made photography accessible only to the relatively wealthy. The lengthy exposure times made candid shots nearly impossible, resulting in posed and formal pictures that could seem artificial and rigid. Despite these technological advances, much of Victorian daily life retained a slower, more deliberate pace. The rhythmic routine of domestic life, the leisurely walks in the park, the social gatherings in drawing rooms, the quiet evenings spent reading by the fire, these aspects continued to define the experience of many Victorians. The contrasts between the rapid pace of technological innovation and the slower pace of life in many other aspects created a dynamic tension that characterized the era. The juxtaposition of the clattering train station and the quiet serenity of a rural village, the speed of the telegraph and the measured pace of letter writing, the instantaneous capture of a photograph and the gradual unfolding of a story, all these contrasts reflected the complex nature of Victorian society. It was an era of both rapid change and persistent tradition, a time of both technological marvels and enduring human experiences. The peaceful quiet of a Victorian home offers a stark contrast to the clamor of the railway station and the buzzing telegraph office. A family gathers around a well-worn table, sharing a simple meal by the light of a gas lamp. The conversation is quiet, punctuated by the gentle clinking of teacups and the soft rustle of pages as someone reads aloud from a book. The air is filled with the comforting scent of freshly baked bread and the warmth of the hearth fire. This domestic scene, seemingly untouched by the whirlwind of technological progress, represents the enduring human need for connection, comfort, and stability. These quiet moments, devoid of the frantic pace of the Industrial Revolution, highlight the enduring values of family, community, and the simple pleasures of everyday life. The slow rhythm of domestic life was not just a retreat from the modern world. It was also a foundation for the very society that was experiencing this rapid transformation. The nurturing of family relationships, the transmission of cultural values, and the development of essential life skills, These fundamental aspects of daily life provided stability in a world undergoing profound and rapid change. The quiet domesticity of a Victorian home, with its slower pace and emphasis on personal connections, was a counterpoint to the often chaotic and impersonal nature of the growing industrial society. This contrast underscores the resilience of human values and the enduring human need for a sense of belonging and continuity, even amidst great change. As we draw to a close on this exploration of Victorian innovations, the enduring image remains one of compelling contrasts: the smoky factories and the elegantly landscaped parks, the bustling railway stations and the quiet contemplation in a family home, the rapid communication of the telegraph and the slow deliberation of a letter written with a quill pen. These juxtapositions form the rich tapestry of Victorian life. This era's enduring legacy lies not solely in its technological achievements, but also in the unique balance it struck between the relentless pursuit of progress and the enduring values of tradition, community, and human connection. The memory of these contrasts, these paradoxes, these gentle rhythms, lull us into a deep and restful sleep, a peaceful slumber reminiscent of the quiet evenings in a Victorian home, a peaceful dream reflecting the unique and fascinating world of Victorian England. The gentle hum of conversation, the clinking of delicate china, the rustle of silk, these were the sounds that often filled the air within the elegantly appointed drawing rooms of Victorian society. But beyond the hushed elegance of these private spaces lay a vibrant world of fashion and entertainment that mirrored and often defied the rigid social structures of the era. Clothing in particular served as a powerful symbol of social status, wealth, and aspiration. The elaborate gowns of wealthy ladies, crafted from luxurious silks and velvets, adorned with intricate lace and delicate embroidery, stood in stark contrast to the more practical and utilitarian attire of the working classes. A woman's dress was a statement, a silent declaration of her position in society. The silhouette itself was a crucial element, evolving over the decades from the full, bell-shaped skirts of the early Victorian period to the more slender S-bend shape of the later years. The colors and fabrics spoke volumes as well. Rich, deep colors like emerald green, sapphire blue, and ruby red indicated wealth and status, while simpler, more muted tones were worn by women of more modest means. The embellishments, the lace, the beading, the ribbons were all carefully chosen to reflect the wearer's taste and position. A simple cotton dress might be adorned with only a few modest buttons, while a silk gown could be lavishly embellished with intricate embroidery, jewels, and even tiny pearls. For men, the image was equally important. The cut of a coat, the fabric of the trousers, the quality of the accessories, all contributed to a man's outward presentation. A well-tailored suit, crafted from fine cloth, and accented with a perfectly knotted cravat and gleaming shoes, signified a certain level of prosperity and social standing. The formal attire of the upper classes contrasted sharply with the more functional and less expensive clothing of working-class men, whose clothes reflected the demands of their physical labor. Even the type of hat worn could signify a man's profession or social standing. A top hat spoke of wealth and status, a bowler hat signified a more middle-class professional, and a simple cap indicated a working-class identity. Beyond the clothes themselves, the accessories played a vital role in completing the overall look. Gloves, parasols, handbags, and jewelry were all essential elements of a Victorian ensemble. The intricate detail of these accessories reflected the wearer's taste and style. A beautifully crafted parasol, for example, could be a miniature work of art, reflecting the latest fashion trends and providing a practical means of protection from the sun. The jewelry worn, whether it was a simple locket or a more extravagant display of gems, served as a symbol of personal expression and social status. But fashion wasn't just about outward appearance. It was a complex interplay of social codes, aesthetic trends, and individual expression. The choice of clothing was not merely a personal preference. but a powerful statement of social identity and belonging. Fashion dictated not only how people presented themselves to the world, but also how they were perceived and treated by others. It was a silent language of status, aspiration, and taste, carefully crafted and meticulously observed. After the daily routines and the rituals of dressing, the Victorians turned to leisure. The city and its surrounding areas offered a wide array of entertainment options, catering to various tastes and social classes. Theater, with its opulent productions and dramatic performances, captivated audiences from all walks of life. The grand theaters of London, with their lavish interiors and impressive stagecraft, were centers of social activity, drawing in large crowds eager to witness the latest plays and musicals. The performances ranged from classic Shakespearean dramas to more contemporary comedic plays, attracting a diverse range of spectators. The atmosphere in these theaters was electric, a mixture of anticipation, excitement, and the thrill of live performance. The gas-lit stage, the rustling of silks, the murmur of the audience, all added to the enchantment of the theatrical experience. Music halls provided a different kind of entertainment, offering a more lighthearted and often bawdier form of amusement. These venues featured a variety of acts, from singers and comedians to acrobats and dancers, catering to a broader audience that included the working classes. The music halls were a more democratic space where people of different backgrounds could gather, laugh, and enjoy themselves. The energy of these establishments was infectious, a vibrant mixture of music, laughter, and the anticipation of the next performance. The atmosphere was often boisterous, with people singing along to the familiar tunes, clapping, and generally enjoying themselves. Unlike the formal etiquette of the theater, the music halls offered a more relaxed and informal atmosphere, fostering a sense of camaraderie among the audience. Public gardens, such as Regent's Park and Hyde Park, provided a space for relaxation and social interaction. The beautifully landscaped gardens offered a welcome respite from the bustling city, providing a peaceful setting for leisurely walks, picnics, and social gatherings. The gardens were vibrant hubs of social activity, with people strolling along the paths, chatting with friends, enjoying the fresh air, and taking in the beauty of the flowers and greenery. The gentle sounds of bird song, the murmur of conversations, and the rustling of leaves created a serene environment that contrasted sharply with the noise and activity of the city streets. Bandstands in these parks often featured performances by brass bands, adding to the festive and lively atmosphere. The music drifted through the air, creating a melodic backdrop to the social scene. These were places where people of different social classes could meet, interact, and enjoy the pleasures of nature and music together. They offered a temporary escape from the constraints of daily life, providing a place of relaxation and recreation for all who visited. The sensory experience of these forms of entertainment was crucial to their appeal. The shimmering lights of the theater, the vibrant colors of the costumes, the rich textures of the fabrics, the smell of freshly cut flowers in the gardens, the lively rhythms of the music halls, all these elements combined to create a captivating and multi-sensory experience that engaged the audiences on multiple levels. These were not simply forms of passive entertainment. They were active participations in the vibrant social life of Victorian England. They were places where people could escape the routine of daily life, express themselves, connect with others, and experience the sheer joy of shared experiences. The echoes of laughter, the sounds of music, the rustling of dresses, the aromas of freshly baked goods sold by street vendors. These were the sounds and scents that painted a rich tapestry of Victorian life, a testament to the vibrancy and diversity of the era. These were the moments that made up the lives of ordinary Victorians, creating a compelling picture of an era often viewed solely through the lens of industrial progress and social inequalities. The world of fashion and entertainment, vibrant and multifaceted, offered a counterpoint to the darker aspects of Victorian life, a testament to the human need for beauty, enjoyment, and connection, even in the midst of rapid social and technological change. And as the gaslights gradually dimmed at the end of the evening, and the sounds of the city began to subside, The memories of these experiences lingered, creating a sense of peace and tranquility that accompanied the Victorians into the quiet intimacy of their homes. The gaslights flickered, casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets as night descended upon Victorian London. The city, a symphony of sounds and smells during the day, now settled into a quieter rhythm, the echoes of bustling markets and clattering carriages fading into the darkness. Yet, even as the city slept, life continued, and within its shadowed lanes and grand houses, a different kind of drama unfolded, the drama of Victorian medicine. Stepping inside a Victorian hospital was a far cry from the sterile, technologically advanced facilities of the modern world. The air, thick with the scent of antiseptic, or rather, the lack thereof, mingled with the pervasive odor of illness and decay. Hospitals were often overcrowded, understaffed, and poorly ventilated. Patients, regardless of their social standing, were often crammed together in large, dimly lit wards, their beds separated only by thin curtains offering little privacy. The sounds of coughing, moaning, and the occasional cry of pain formed a constant, unsettling backdrop to the daily routine. Infections spread easily, claiming lives as readily as the diseases themselves. Surgical procedures were performed with minimal anesthesia, the screams of patients echoing through the wards a grim testament to the limitations of the era's medical knowledge. Despite the grim reality of hospital conditions, significant medical advancements were being made during the Victorian era. The development of anesthesia, while still in its infancy, represented a momentous leap forward. The use of chloroform and ether, although not without its dangers, significantly reduced the pain and trauma associated with surgery, allowing for longer and more complex procedures. This innovation, however, was not universally available, its benefits largely confined to the wealthier classes who could afford the expensive anesthetics and the skilled surgeons who administered them. For the working classes, surgery often remained a brutal and terrifying ordeal. The discovery of germ theory by Louis Pasteur and Robert Koch revolutionized the understanding of disease. While the implications of this revolutionary discovery were still being fully understood and implemented during the Victorian era, it laid the groundwork for future advancements in sanitation and hygiene. The gradual adoption of hand washing and sterilization techniques, though slow and often met with resistance, marked a crucial step towards improving medical practices and reducing the mortality rate from infections. Surgery itself was undergoing a period of dramatic transformation. Joseph Lister's pioneering work on antiseptic techniques, involving the use of carbolic acid to sterilize surgical instruments and dressings, helped to reduce the incidence of post-separative infections. This was a critical advancement, as many patients previously succumbed to infections rather than the initial condition for which they underwent surgery. Lister's methods, though initially met with skepticism from some members of the medical establishment, gradually gained acceptance, transforming the practice of surgery and significantly improving patient outcomes. Yet, alongside these advancements, many deeply rooted beliefs and practices persisted. The understanding of disease remained incomplete, with many conditions attributed to miasma, the belief that bad air was the primary cause of illness. This led to a focus on improving sanitation and ventilation, which, while beneficial, failed to address the underlying microbial causes of many diseases. The role of microorganisms in spreading disease remained largely unknown to most practitioners, resulting in ineffective treatments and a high mortality rate. Bleeding, a common practice of earlier centuries, lingered stubbornly in some medical circles, often worsening the patient's condition rather than improving it. The treatment of common illnesses also reveals the limitations of Victorian medical knowledge. Tuberculosis, a devastating disease that ravaged the working classes, was incurable. Patients were often confined to sanatoria, facilities designed to isolate sufferers, but which offered little in the way of effective treatment. The symptoms were managed with palliative care, offering only temporary relief from the relentless onslaught of the disease. The lack of effective treatment resulted in a sense of hopelessness and despair among both patients and their families, contributing to the social stigma surrounding the illness. Cholera outbreaks were a recurring nightmare, devastating entire communities and underscoring the inadequate sanitation systems of Victorian cities. The spread of cholera was largely attributed to contaminated water supplies, but the precise mechanism of transmission remained unclear. Preventive measures, such as improved sanitation and water purification, were implemented gradually, yet the impact remained limited due to widespread poverty and inadequate infrastructure. Mental illness was shrouded in stigma and misunderstanding. Asylums, rather than offering treatment, often became places of confinement and neglect, where patients were subjected to inhumane conditions and brutal treatments. The prevailing attitudes towards mental illness reflected a lack of understanding and a fear of the unknown, relegating those suffering from mental health problems to the margins of society. The medical landscape of Victorian England was a complex tapestry of contrasts, a mixture of brutal realities and nascent scientific advancements, hope and despair, innovation and stagnation. While the era witnessed significant strides in medical knowledge and practice, the limitations of its understanding and the pervasive inequalities of its social structure severely limited the availability of effective healthcare for the vast majority of the population. The lingering shadows of antiquated beliefs and practices, coupled with the stark realities of poverty and inadequate sanitation, created a healthcare system that was both remarkably progressive and undeniably primitive, a sobering reflection of the complexities and contradictions that defined Victorian society. The gentle hum of the nearby church clock chimed the hour, a reminder that even amidst the medical advances and hardships, life continued, inexorably weaving its path through the gaslit streets and echoing through the halls of Victorian hospitals. The sounds of the city, gradually diminishing into the quiet of the night, carried with them the whispers of both triumph and tragedy, a poignant symphony of Victorian life and death. The gaslights, those valiant sentinels against the encroaching darkness, cast a warm, honeyed glow upon the cobblestones. Their flickering light danced on the polished brass of a passing hansom cab, the rhythmic clop-clop of its horses' hooves a counterpoint to the hushed whispers of the night. The city, a roaring beast by day, had settled into a contemplative silence, its frenetic energy replaced by a quietude that was both comforting and slightly unnerving. The air, cleansed somewhat by the night's coolness, still carried the faintest hint of coal smoke, mingling with the sweeter scent of jasmine escaping from unseen gardens. A stray dog, its ribs showing beneath its matted fur, sought refuge in a shadowed doorway, its whimper a fragile sound in the vast expanse of the city. Further down the street, the distant strains of a piano, melancholic and beautiful, drifted on the night air, a ghostly serenade from a nearby townhouse. A lone policeman, his uniform a dark silhouette against the gaslight, patrolled his beat, his footsteps echoing softly on the pavement. His presence, though subtle, was a reassuring constant, a silent guardian against the shadows that held both mystery and potential danger. The rhythmic sweep of his lantern beam painted fleeting portraits on the walls, revealing momentarily the intricate detail of brickwork and the worn textures of ancient doorways. In the grander houses lining the wider avenues, life continued in a different rhythm. Curtained windows hinted at the quiet intimacy of family life, the soft glow of lamps perhaps illuminating a bedtime story or a whispered conversation between husband and wife. Servants, their tasks for the day completed, enjoyed stolen moments of rest, the sounds of their quiet activities barely audible above the gentle hum of the city. The wealthy, tucked into their lavish beds, dreamt dreams of empire and social standing, oblivious in their gilded cages to the struggles of those less fortunate. But in the labyrinthine alleyways and forgotten corners of the city, a different drama unfolded. Here, the shadows were deeper, the silence more profound. Poverty clung to these places like a persistent fog, its icy breath chilling the bones. The cries of children, the hushed arguments of desperate adults, the clatter of hastily emptied chamber pots, These were the sounds that belonged to the hidden lives of Victorian London. These were the whispers that often went unheard in the grander narratives of the era. A young woman, her face pale and etched with worry, hurried through the darkness, clutching a shawl tightly around her shoulders. Her footsteps were hesitant, her gaze darting nervously from side to side. She was on her way to a clandestine meeting, a rendezvous with danger, and perhaps a desperate hope for a better future. Her silent journey through the night was a testament to the silent battles fought in the heart of Victorian London. Battles unseen by those comfortably ensconced in the upper echelons of society. In a small, dimly lit room above a bustling tavern, a group of workers gathered around a worn table, their faces illuminated by the flickering light of a single candle. Their conversation was low and hushed, their voices tinged with exhaustion and despair. They were discussing their plight, sharing their grievances, and plotting their next move in the ongoing struggle for better wages and working conditions. Their quiet rebellion was a flicker of resistance against the overwhelming power of the industrial machine, a tiny spark in the vast darkness. The night air, heavy with the aroma of damp earth and distant cooking fires, carried the sounds of countless lives lived in parallel yet isolated existences. The clatter of a distant milk cart, the mournful wail of a distant siren, the rhythmic creak of a nearby dock, all contributed to the unique sonic tapestry of Victorian London at night. The city, even in its sleep, possessed a powerful and persistent rhythm, a symphony of contrasts and contradictions that played out across its cobbled streets and shadowy alleys. The rhythmic ticking of a nearby grandfather clock punctuated the quiet, its steady beat a reassurance against the uncertainties of the night. The clock's measured progress mirrored the relentless advance of time, a constant force that shaped the lives of all who dwelt within its reach, whether rich or poor, powerful or powerless. The shadows grew longer, the gaslights flickered, and the sounds of the city softened further, blending into the deep hush of the sleeping metropolis. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves in a nearby tree, their rustling a soothing lullaby that drifted on the night air. The moon, a pearly disk in the inky sky, cast a soft, ethereal light upon the scene, transforming the ordinary into the magical, the mundane into the sublime. The night held a certain tranquility, a peaceful quiet that embraced the city in its shadowy arms. This was a moment of pause, a temporary respite in the ceaseless churn of Victorian life, a moment of calm before the dawn's awakening. The city's slumber was deep, but not entirely still. A cat, sleek and black as night, stalked silently through the narrow alleyways, its movements fluid and graceful, a phantom gliding through the darkness. Rats scurried in unseen gutters, their tiny claws scratching against the brickwork, a reminder of the hidden life that thrived beneath the veneer of Victorian civility. The night concealed as much as it revealed, offering glimpses into hidden lives and whispered secrets. As the hours slipped by, the city held its breath, waiting for the first pale blush of dawn. The quiet was almost palpable, a weightless blanket draped over the sleeping streets. The sounds of the night gradually faded, leaving behind an almost absolute silence, broken only by the gentle breathing of the city and the faintest whisper of the wind. This quietude, this gentle pause in the relentless rhythm of Victorian life, prepared the city and the reader for the awakening that would soon follow, bringing with it the promise of a new day, filled with its own unique set of challenges and opportunities. It was a moment of peace, a tranquil interlude in the vibrant and often chaotic tapestry of Victorian London, perfect for a quiet contemplation or a peaceful drift into slumber. The city slept, and with it, the echoes of a bygone era faded into the deep quiet of the night. Chapter 3: The Victorian Home and Family Life. The dawn, when it finally arrived, painted the sky in hues of rose and apricot, a gentle awakening after the deep slumber of the night. This soft light, filtering through the grime-coated windows of even the grandest homes, revealed a different aspect of Victorian life, the meticulously structured world within the walls of a Victorian household. The seemingly serene facades masked a complex web of social interactions, hierarchical structures, and unspoken rules that governed every aspect of family life, differing sharply depending on the family's position within the social strata. In the wealthiest households, the day began with a flurry of activity, though not necessarily a noisy one. The servants, many of whom rose before the sun, moved silently through the halls, preparing for the family's awakening. The rhythmic squeak of polished floors, the gentle clinking of china, the hushed whispers of instructions, these were the sounds that announced the beginning of the day in a wealthy Victorian home. The mistress of the house, often assisted by her lady's maid, would commence her toilette, a ritualistic process involving numerous lotions, creams, and powders, designed to maintain her delicate complexion and enhance her beauty. Her husband, meanwhile, might be receiving his morning papers, already immersed in the latest political news or business dealings. Breakfast, a formal affair served in a grand dining room, was a carefully orchestrated social event, even within the confines of the family. Conversations, though ostensibly casual, often reflected the careful maintenance of social status and connections. Children, depending on their age and gender, would participate in this ritual with varying degrees of formality, their manners and deportment under constant scrutiny. The hierarchy within the household was immediately apparent, with the parents at the apex, followed by the children, and finally the servants, their presence a silent yet ever-present backdrop to family life. The daily routines of a middle-class Victorian home were less opulent, but no less structured. The mother of the house, often juggling her domestic responsibilities with limited outside employment, would rise early to oversee the household tasks. She would likely be assisted by one or two servants, depending on the family's means. Yet the weight of running a home, managing finances, and raising a family rested largely on her shoulders. The children, especially the girls, would be expected to contribute to the household chores, learning the essential skills needed to manage a home. Boys might receive a more formal education, preparing them for future careers in trade or profession. Breakfast would be a less formal affair, but still observed with a certain level of decorum. The family's day would be carefully scheduled, with time allocated for work, education, and leisure. The father, typically the primary breadwinner, would leave for his place of work, his departure a significant event in the daily rhythm of the household. His absence during the day highlighted the significant role the mother played in maintaining the family's stability and well-being. The evening would bring a period of family togetherness, perhaps involving games, reading aloud, or religious instruction. Even in this ostensibly informal setting, the social hierarchy, though less rigidly defined than in the upper classes, would still be subtly present, guiding interactions and expectations. In working-class households, the rigid structures were often less apparent, though no less binding. The daily routines were dictated by the relentless demands of factory work or manual labor. The mother, in addition to the demands of housework and child-rearing, often worked alongside the father, their collective efforts necessary to provide even a meager livelihood. Children from a young age would be expected to contribute to the family income through factory work or street vending. Meals were often hastily prepared and consumed, with little opportunity for leisure or formal social interaction. The family's unity, however, was often forged in the shared struggles and hardships faced in the pursuit of survival. The emphasis was on mutual support and collective effort in the face of adversity. While the structure might be less formal, the roles and responsibilities were profoundly embedded in their daily existence. Their lives were a testament to resilience, ingenuity, and cooperation in overcoming the challenges of poverty. The dynamics within the Victorian household varied not only by class but also by gender. Men, regardless of class, held the position of head of the household, wielding significant authority over their wives and children. Women's roles, largely defined by their domestic responsibilities, often excluded them from the public sphere. Their lives revolved around the home, where their work, though demanding and crucial, was often undervalued and unrecognized. Children's lives were also shaped by gender, with boys and girls receiving different expectations regarding education and future roles. Boys were often channeled towards career paths aligned with their father's social standing, while girls were prepared for domesticity and potential marriage. This rigidly defined gender division underscored the deeply ingrained patriarchal structures of Victorian society. The unspoken rules and social conventions governing Victorian family life were pervasive, influencing even the most intimate interactions. Emotional restraint was highly valued, and open displays of affection were largely frowned upon. Formal etiquette dictated much of social behavior, with strict guidelines governing speech, posture, and demeanor. These rules, though often unwritten, shaped social interactions within the family, reinforcing the established hierarchies and maintaining social order. The consequences of transgressing these unspoken rules could be severe, ranging from social ostracism to family disgrace. The pressure to conform was immense, especially for women, whose lives were largely confined to the domestic sphere and whose reputations were vital for their social standing. The weight of expectations, the subtle power dynamics, and the stringent social conventions shaped not only daily life, but also the very fabric of Victorian family structures, creating both stability and oppression within the seemingly placid walls of these houses. The stories of those who dared to defy these norms often remain untold, but their existence hints at the limitations and constraints of Victorian family life beneath the veneer of perfect propriety. The sheer range of experiences within the Victorian household, from the bustling activity of a wealthy family to the quiet resilience of a working-class home, illustrates the immense diversity that existed beneath the seemingly homogeneous surface of Victorian society. While the overarching structure of family and household roles appeared consistent, the realities of life within these walls varied dramatically across the social spectrum. The differences in class determined not just material comfort, but also the very nature of family dynamics, the distribution of power, and the opportunities available to individual members. The differences in gender further complicated the picture, highlighting the vastly different experiences and expectations placed on men and women. The Victorian home, then, was a microcosm of society itself, reflecting its inequalities, its hierarchies, and its persistent yet sometimes subtle tensions. Understanding the structure of the Victorian household offers a glimpse into the intricate social fabric of the era, revealing a fascinating interplay between the formal and the informal, the public and the private. The seemingly placid exterior of these homes concealed a world of complex social interactions, unspoken rules, and hierarchical structures that shaped the lives of individuals within their walls. It's a world that both captivated and constrained, offering a glimpse into the past that resonates with both fascination and, at times, a quiet unease. The quiet ticking of the grandfather clock, the gentle rustling of leaves, and the soft glow of the gaslight, these seemingly tranquil details mask a tapestry of social interactions, unspoken rules, and deeply ingrained inequalities. The Victorian home was a world of its own, reflecting the complexities and contradictions of the age in a microcosm of societal structures and individual experiences. The study of these homes allows us to gain a deeper understanding not just of Victorian England, but also of the enduring power of social structures and the subtle yet significant ways in which they shape our lives. And as the sun sets on this exploration, leaving the quiet of the evening to settle over the streets, we can reflect on the lasting legacy of the Victorian home, a world both familiar and foreign, comfortable and constrained, leaving its mark on the future in countless ways. The gentle chime of a distant church bell, a sound that punctuated the quiet rhythm of Victorian life, marked the passage of time, even for the youngest members of society. Childhood in Victorian England was a multifaceted experience, shaped profoundly by social class, gender, and the prevailing societal norms of the time. For children of the wealthy, life unfolded within the gilded cage of privilege, a world of governesses, tutors, and carefully curated experiences. Yet, even within this seemingly idyllic setting, the weight of expectation and the constraints of societal decorum cast a long shadow. Imagine a young girl, perhaps the daughter of a wealthy merchant or industrialist, awakening in a spacious, sun-drenched bedroom. Her day would begin not with boisterous play, but with a carefully orchestrated routine. A lady's maid would assist her with her toilette, a process that involved more than just brushing her hair. It was a ritual of refinement, preparing her for the day's demands of social engagement and the cultivation of her femininity. Her education would be overseen by a governess, a woman often highly educated herself, who would instill in her the skills and knowledge deemed appropriate for a young lady of her station. Lessons would include needlepoint, music, drawing, and French, along with a smattering of literature and history, designed not to stimulate intellectual curiosity, but to cultivate grace, elegance, and the ability to engage in polite conversation. The goal wasn't necessarily intellectual achievement, but the attainment of social graces that would secure her an advantageous marriage. Playtime, when it occurred, was often structured and supervised, emphasizing decorum and propriety above all else. Her social circle would be limited to other children of similar social standing, fostering a sense of belonging within a tightly knit yet exclusive community. Her future was largely predetermined. A marriage that would secure her family's social standing and economic well-being, with domesticity as her primary vocation. While she might enjoy a life of relative comfort and security, her autonomy was severely restricted. Her life a tapestry woven from the threads of expectation and social obligation. Boys of the upper class followed a different path, one tailored to prepare them for their future roles in society. Their education would be more rigorous, emphasizing classical subjects and the acquisition of knowledge deemed necessary for leadership and professional success. Private tutors or attendants at prestigious boarding schools would shape their intellectual and social development, instilling discipline, self-reliance, and the attributes of a gentleman. Sports and outdoor activities played a significant role, developing their physical prowess and fostering a sense of camaraderie. Their future was often mapped out for them, positions in the family business, careers in the civil service, or entry into the military, all determined by their family's connections and social standing. Freedom came with responsibility, with the understanding that their actions reflected not only on themselves, but on the honor and prestige of their family. The weight of expectation, though different from that of their sisters, was equally profound. The experiences of middle-class children were far removed from the opulent lives of their upper-class counterparts. While they might not have had the benefit of private tutors or a retinue of servants, their childhoods were nonetheless shaped by societal norms and expectations. Education, though less formal, played a critical role, preparing children for their future roles in society. Boys might attend local schools, learning the fundamentals of reading, writing, and arithmetic, skills deemed essential for employment in trade or commerce. Girls, on the other hand, often received their education at home, learning domestic skills considered vital for managing a household. Both boys and girls were expected to contribute to the family's well-being, participating in household chores and often assisting in the family business. Their lives were less sheltered, more directly involved in the daily realities of family life and economic survival. Play, while valued, often took place within the constraints of their domestic sphere, with imaginative games filling the gaps left by the demands of work and responsibility. Their futures were less predetermined than those of the upper class, yet they still faced the limitations imposed by gender and social class. For working-class children, childhood as we understand it barely existed. From a very young age, they were integrated into the harsh realities of Victorian society, their lives dictated by the relentless demands of poverty and the necessity of contributing to the family income. Factory work, street vending, chimney sweeping, and other forms of child labor were commonplace, their tender years spent in the relentless pursuit of survival. Education was a luxury they rarely experienced, their days filled with back-breaking toil that stole their childhood and left them physically and emotionally scarred. The absence of childhood play was profound. The games they played, often born out of necessity and mimicking the adult world around them, filled with harsh realities and relentless struggles. Their lives offered a stark contrast to the seemingly idyllic childhoods of their more fortunate counterparts, a testament to the deep inequalities that characterized Victorian England. The lack of opportunities, the absence of protection, and the constant threat of illness or injury shaped their experiences profoundly, leaving an enduring mark on their physical and psychological well-being. Their stories, often untold, offer a poignant reminder of the human cost of industrialization and the stark realities of poverty in Victorian society. The expectations placed upon children in Victorian England were profoundly shaped by gender. Boys, regardless of class, were generally encouraged to develop their physical and intellectual capabilities, preparing them for their future roles as breadwinners. Girls, on the other hand, were primarily educated for domesticity and marriage. Their roles were largely defined by their domestic responsibilities, and the emphasis on their education was on developing the skills necessary to manage a household and raise a family. This gender division was deeply entrenched in Victorian society, reflecting the prevailing patriarchal structures that defined the era. The limitations placed on girls' lives extended beyond education, shaping their social interactions, their career opportunities, and their overall life trajectory. The emotional landscape of Victorian childhood was equally complex. Open displays of affection were generally discouraged, replaced by a culture of emotional restraint and decorum. Children were expected to behave in a manner deemed appropriate for their age and social standing, with emphasis on obedience, politeness, and conformity. While parents certainly loved their children, the expression of that love was often subdued, reflecting the prevailing social norms of the time. The rigid social hierarchy within Victorian society extended into the family, creating a structure where parents held significant authority and children were expected to adhere to their expectations. The constraints placed on children's lives, though often well-intentioned, sometimes resulted in a suppression of their individuality and a lack of opportunity for self-expression. The experiences of children in Victorian England, from the privileged lives of the upper class to the harsh realities faced by their working-class counterparts, offer a nuanced understanding of the complexities of childhood during this period. It was a time of stark contrasts, where the lives of children were deeply shaped by their social class and gender, highlighting both the idyllic and the oppressive aspects of Victorian society. The legacies of those childhoods, both the privileged and the less fortunate, linger in the annals of history, reminding us of the enduring power of social structures and the lasting impact of socioeconomic inequality on the lives of generations. As the day closes, and the soft glow of the gaslight spills across the cobblestone streets, one can almost hear the echoes of those long-past childhoods, a silent testament to the challenges, the resilience, and the complexities of a bygone era. The story of Victorian childhood is a multifaceted one, woven from threads of privilege and hardship, joy and sorrow, offering a glimpse into a time that, despite its distance, remains strangely familiar. The sun, filtering through lace-curtained windows, illuminated dust motes dancing in the air of a typical Victorian home. For women, this domestic sphere, however grand or humble, was the primary stage upon which their lives unfolded. Their roles, expectations, and opportunities were intricately woven into the fabric of Victorian society, a tapestry of both restriction and resilience. The prevailing ideology painted a picture of women as the moral guardians of the home, their lives dedicated to the domestic sphere, raising children, managing households, and providing a haven for their husbands. This idealized vision, however, often masked the complexities and struggles that were the everyday reality for women of all social classes. For women of the upper class, life revolved around the performance of a carefully constructed social role. Their days were filled with a seemingly endless stream of social engagements, afternoon teas, dinner parties, charity events, and visits to friends and relatives. These events were not merely social gatherings, but elaborate performances, each interaction a careful dance of etiquette and social decorum. Their attire, a testament to the prevailing fashion, served as both a symbol of status and a vehicle for self-expression, albeit within the confines of accepted norms. These women were expected to be accomplished in the arts, playing the piano, sketching, needlepoint, skills that were essential tools for maintaining their social standing and securing advantageous marriages for themselves or their daughters. Yet, beneath the polished surface of societal grace, lay a quiet struggle for autonomy. Their lives, while seemingly opulent, were largely dictated by the expectations and constraints of their social class, leaving little room for individual pursuits or personal aspirations beyond the domestic realm. The pursuit of marriage was paramount, not merely for love but for financial security and social stability. Marriage often meant the transfer of control over property and finances from the woman to her husband, emphasizing the economic dependence of women on men. Widows, however, enjoyed a degree of financial independence, especially if they held property or substantial investments. Their experience differed considerably, allowing a degree of agency that was unavailable to married women. Even so, social pressure to remarry and the burden of running the household alone presented immense challenges. The lives of middle-class women were shaped by a different set of challenges. They lacked the extensive support staff enjoyed by their upper-class counterparts, and many were expected to contribute directly to the family's income. This could take the form of running a boarding house, teaching music lessons, or engaging in various forms of needlework and craft work that could be sold or exchanged for goods. Household management consumed a significant portion of their time, demanding tireless effort in maintaining order, managing servants, if any, cooking, cleaning, and providing for the family's needs. The pressure to maintain a respectable appearance, regardless of their financial constraints, placed immense strain on their resources and energy. The middle-class woman's world was one of constant negotiation, balancing social expectations with the realities of economic limitations. Their social circle was somewhat less restrictive than that of the upper class, allowing for a broader range of relationships and social experiences. Yet, the pressure to conform to social standards remained strong, with their success often judged by their ability to maintain a comfortable home and raise a respectable family. Even those women from this class who actively sought employment outside the home were confronted with limited opportunities and prevalent gender biases. For working-class women, the realities of Victorian life were profoundly different. They were often the main breadwinners of the family, and many labored in factories, sweatshops, and domestic service. The physical and emotional toll of these jobs was immense. Their workdays stretched far beyond those of their middle and upper-class counterparts, leaving little time for respite or leisure. Their wages were often meager, barely enough to keep the family afloat, and they faced the additional burden of caring for children and managing a home under extremely challenging circumstances. Many women worked in domestic service, a role that often involved long hours, strenuous work, and little pay. They were at the mercy of their employers and suffered both physical and emotional abuse in many instances. Their lives were a constant struggle for survival, with little opportunity for personal fulfillment or advancement. Social engagement, if it existed at all, was largely confined to their immediate communities and shared experiences of hardship. The lack of access to education and healthcare further exacerbated their already precarious situation, trapping them in a cycle of poverty and limited opportunities. Despite the limitations and hardships, women of all classes found ways to exercise a degree of agency within the constraints of Victorian society. They formed networks of support and community among themselves, offering each other emotional solace, practical assistance, and a shared understanding of their experiences. These networks operated both formally through organizations and charities and informally through the intimate connections of family and neighbors. They found outlets for their creativity and aspirations in various artistic and literary pursuits, often finding expression through writing, needlework, or other forms of craft. While discouraged from formal education, some women were able to expand their knowledge and education by reading literature secretly, joining book clubs, or receiving instruction from family members. The rise of religious movements and reform efforts also offered some women avenues for social engagement and activism, although this was always a careful navigation within the limited boundaries of social acceptability. They used their social interactions to cultivate influence, building alliances and using their social networks to benefit their families or communities. Through careful management of their household budgets, some women found small ways to assert control over their finances and household lives. The Victorian era saw the beginnings of a transformation in women's lives, though it was a slow and often uneven process. The rise of feminism, albeit in its nascent stages, began to challenge the prevailing societal norms and expectations. The growing recognition of women's intellectual capabilities and the demands for increased educational opportunities marked a shift towards greater social equality. These nascent changes, however, did little to alleviate the persistent inequalities that characterized the lives of Victorian women. While some women managed to carve out lives of relative independence and achievement, many others remained trapped in a cycle of domestic servitude and economic dependence. The story of Victorian women is one of both constraint and resilience, a complex tapestry woven from the threads of societal expectations, personal struggles, and subtle forms of agency. It's a story of quiet strength, of women navigating a world that often sought to confine them, finding solace, community, and even subtle forms of power within the limited spheres available to them. As the gaslights flickered and dimmed, their stories continued to be written, a testament to the human spirit's enduring capacity to adapt, endure, and create meaning in the face of adversity. Their lives, viewed through the lens of history, offer a poignant reminder of the enduring struggle for social justice and equality, a legacy that continues to shape our understanding of the complexities of gender, class, and society. The lingering scent of lavender and coal smoke, the faint echo of piano music, and the rustling of skirts in dimly lit hallways. These are the whispers of a past that still speaks volumes about the women who lived and shaped this remarkable era. The rhythms of Victorian life were punctuated not only by the demands of work and domesticity, but also by a surprisingly rich tapestry of leisure activities and social gatherings. These events, ranging from the opulent balls of high society to the more informal gatherings of the working class, formed an integral part of the social fabric of the era, shaping relationships, reinforcing social hierarchies, and providing crucial moments of respite and recreation. For the upper classes, leisure was often a carefully choreographed performance, a display of wealth, status, and social refinement. Grand balls held in lavishly decorated ballrooms were the pinnacle of social events. These weren't simply occasions for dancing, they were meticulously planned affairs requiring weeks, if not months, of preparation. Invitations, often exquisitely engraved, were highly sought after, tokens of social acceptance. The meticulous selection of attire was crucial. Gowns of silk and satin, adorned with lace, jewels, and feathers, showcased the latest fashions and reflected the wearer's wealth and social standing. Men, equally attired in their finest tailcoats and formal wear, completed the picture of opulent elegance. These evenings were less about spontaneous revelry and more about navigating a complex social landscape. Introductions, conversations, and dances all adhered to a strict code of etiquette, a silent language understood by all those present. The music, usually provided by a string quartet or orchestra, provided the backdrop for the graceful movements of the dancers, each step a testament to their training and social poise. Refreshments, often lavish displays of culinary artistry, served as further demonstrations of the host's wealth and hospitality. These balls were not merely occasions for amusement. They were vital for maintaining social connections, forging alliances, and navigating the intricate web of Victorian society. Gossip flowed as freely as the champagne, shaping reputations and influencing social standing. Beyond the grand balls, the upper classes engaged in a range of other leisure pursuits. Afternoon tea, a ritualistic affair, served as a more informal yet equally significant social gathering. Held in elegantly furnished drawing rooms, these gatherings provided an opportunity for women to engage in conversation, exchange news, and maintain their social connections. The delicate china, silver tea service, and an array of cakes and pastries were more than simply refreshments. They were symbols of status and refinement. The subtle art of conversation, requiring wit and social grace, was a skill highly valued among the upper classes. The exchange of ideas, gossip, and the latest social news was an integral part of these gatherings. Likewise, visits to friends and relatives, often involving carriage rides and formal calls, formed an important part of their social lives. These encounters reinforced familial ties and strengthened social connections. For the middle classes, leisure activities were often more modest in scale, but no less significant in their social importance. Picnics in the countryside, theatrical performances, and visits to museums or exhibitions offered opportunities for relaxation and social engagement. These events, while less opulent than those of the upper class, still adhered to a degree of social etiquette. Dress was important, even if less extravagant, reflecting a desire to maintain a respectable appearance. The picnic, for example, was not merely a casual meal, but an opportunity to display a degree of refinement and social grace. The preparation of the food, the selection of a scenic location, and the conversation all contributed to the overall experience. Similarly, attending theatrical performances or visiting museums offered opportunities for intellectual and social enrichment, providing a window into a wider world and furthering the social standing of those who participated. Family gatherings involving games, storytelling, and music formed the core of leisure activities within the home. The piano, a common fixture in middle-class homes, provided both entertainment and a means of social display. Family visits and gatherings with neighbors also formed a crucial element of middle-class social life, reinforcing community bonds and creating a sense of shared identity. The leisure activities of the working classes differed significantly from those of their wealthier counterparts, shaped by the realities of their daily lives. For the working class, leisure time was a precious commodity, often limited by long working hours and the need to support families. However, this did not negate the importance of social connections. Hub visits played a vital role in working-class social life, providing a place to socialize, share stories, and escape the drudgery of daily life. These were not simply places to drink, they were community hubs, where news was exchanged, relationships were forged, and social support networks were formed. Religious gatherings at chapels and churches were equally important, providing a sense of community, spiritual solace, and social connection. Street games, music hall performances, and occasional fairs provided moments of amusement and recreation, providing a vital counterpoint to the harsh realities of working-class life. These forms of entertainment were affordable and accessible, bringing joy and a sense of shared experience to their communities. Even simple gatherings at home, involving family and neighbors, provided essential moments of respite and social interaction. The sharing of food, stories, and experiences forged strong community bonds and provided much-needed support in times of hardship. These shared experiences were crucial for resilience, fostering a sense of belonging and mutual support within a demanding environment. Despite the differences in their social standing and access to resources, all classes within Victorian society shared a common need for social interaction and leisure activities. These gatherings, whatever their form or scale, played a crucial role in shaping identities, reinforcing social structures, and providing much-needed moments of respite and relaxation. They were essential for building community, fostering connections, and maintaining the social equilibrium of Victorian England. The echoes of laughter, music, and conversation from those long-ago gatherings still resonate today, providing a glimpse into the rich social tapestry of this fascinating era. The contrast between the formal elegance of the upper classes and the more informal gatherings of the working classes highlights the complexities of Victorian social life, reminding us of the enduring human need for connection and community regardless of social status. Even the simplest gathering, whether a grand ball or a pub gathering, contributed to the fabric of daily life, demonstrating the importance placed upon social interaction in shaping the identity and experience of Victorians across all classes. The shared experiences, even in their vastly different forms, provide a unifying thread throughout the diverse spectrum of Victorian society. Their impact on the shaping of social bonds, the building of communities, and the maintenance of a shared cultural identity is an essential element to understanding the full scope of Victorian social history. The lingering scent of lavender and beeswax hung in the air, a comforting aroma that spoke of cleanliness and order, hallmarks of the Victorian home. Gaslight flickered softly in the ornate brass chandelier, casting dancing shadows on the richly patterned wallpaper and the polished mahogany furniture. Outside, the sounds of London faded into a muffled hum. The rhythmic clip-clop of horse-drawn carriages, the distant rumble of factory machinery, the cries of street vendors, all muted by the thick stone walls of the family's comfortable home. Within, a quiet domesticity reigned, a sharp contrast to the bustling energy of the city streets. This particular evening found the Smith family gathered in their drawing room. Mr. Smith, a prosperous merchant, settled into his favorite armchair, a worn leather piece that spoke of years of comfort and countless evenings spent by the fire. His spectacles perched delicately on his nose, he was immersed in a well-worn copy of Dickens, a favorite author amongst many in the family, whose tales often served as a source of conversation and shared laughter. Mrs. Smith, her needlework basket resting on her lap, hummed a gentle tune, her nimble fingers deftly weaving intricate patterns into the fine linen. Her needlework was not merely a pastime, but a reflection of her domestic duties, a constant reminder of her place in the family and the broader social fabric of Victorian society. The rhythmic clicking of her needles added a subtle counterpoint to the crackling fire and the occasional rustle of pages from Mr. Smith's book. Their two children, 10-year-old Mary and 12-year-old Thomas, were engaged in a game of chess. The polished wooden chessboard sat between them, a silent battleground where pawns and knights moved strategically across the squares. Their concentration was intense, eyebrows furrowed, lips pursed in quiet contemplation as they carefully plotted their next move. The occasional whispered comment, a strategic suggestion, or a quiet groan of frustration punctuated the quiet intensity of their game. The game wasn't merely child's play. It was a reflection of the mental agility and strategic thinking that were valued within Victorian society. This carefully planned game, in its quiet intensity, mirrored the quiet strategy of their parents' lives. The fire in the hearth crackled merrily, casting a warm, dancing light across the room. The flames danced and flickered, illuminating the room's comforting details. The ornate fireplace mantelpiece, adorned with family photographs and small porcelain figurines. The richly patterned Persian rug that muffled the sound of footsteps. The comfortable, well-worn furniture that spoke of a life lived well. The air was filled with the subtle scent of wood smoke, mingling with the faint perfume of Mrs. Smith's lavender-scented soap and the more robust aroma of the hot cocoa warming on the nearby table. As the evening deepened, the children's game concluded, and a comfortable silence settled over the family. Mr. Smith, having finished his chapter, joined his wife by the fire, sharing a quiet moment of contemplation before turning their attention to their children. Thomas, ever the pragmatist, spoke of his day at school, the triumphs and frustrations of his lessons. Mary, more imaginative, recounted a fantastical story she had woven from the pages of her own well-loved fairy tale. The conversation flowed easily, a gentle exchange of thoughts and feelings. It wasn't a rushed or hurried interaction, but a thoughtful reflection of their shared experiences and their deep familial bond. Their words painted a picture of their lives, the daily routines, the joys and sorrows, the dreams and aspirations. They spoke of friends and neighbors, the latest local news, and the ever-present anxieties of a world undergoing rapid change. Their voices were soft, their tones gentle, their words measured and respectful, a reflection of the values they held dear. Mrs. Smith offered them warm cocoa, rich and comforting. The steaming mugs warmed their hands, their sweet chocolate scent adding to the already calming ambience of the room. As they sipped their cocoa, they shared stories and laughter, their voices weaving together in a harmonious blend of familial connection. After their cocoa, the family gathered around the piano. Mrs. Smith, a skilled pianist, played a selection of popular ballads and hymns, her fingers dancing lightly across the ivory keys. The music filled the room, a gentle melody that soothed and calmed. The children sang along softly to the familiar tunes, their voices blending with the piano's graceful notes, creating a chorus of comforting sounds. As the evening wore on, the gaslight dimmed slightly and the shadows lengthened. The fire in the hearth burned lower, casting a softer, more intimate glow. The Smith family's conversation gradually subsided, their words replaced by comfortable silence, each member of the family enjoying the gentle warmth and the soft music drifting through the room. The atmosphere was one of complete relaxation and contentment. It was a scene of domestic harmony, a haven of peace and quiet in the midst of a rapidly changing world. The family's shared joy and mutual affection were palpable, a comforting testament to the enduring power of family bonds in Victorian society. The quiet intimacy of the scene, the soft sounds, the comforting smells, and the gentle warmth all created an atmosphere of profound tranquility. There were no grand balls or lavish parties this evening, just the quiet comfort of family, a simple joy that contrasted sharply with the often intense and demanding lives lived by many of their compatriots. This quiet domestic scene reflected a different facet of Victorian life, not the opulent displays of wealth and social standing often depicted in history books, but the equally important realities of daily life, the quiet joys of family, and the comforting rituals that sustained them. The rhythmic ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall provided a subtle reminder of the passing time, a gentle rhythm that was almost hypnotic in its consistency. Each tick marked the quiet passage of time, each talk a gentle reminder of the stillness and peace within the room. The sound was comforting, not intrusive, a gentle backdrop to the family's quiet contentment. As the evening drew to a close, a sense of peaceful anticipation settled over the household. The fire gradually dwindled, the music faded, and the gaslight grew dimmer still. Each member of the family drifted off to their respective rooms, carrying with them the warmth and contentment of this shared evening, the memories of the evening's quiet joys, the comfort of shared conversation, the gentle music, and the warmth of the fire remained, a tranquil reminder of the simple pleasures that made life, even amidst the challenges of Victorian society, profoundly fulfilling. The lingering scent of lavender and wood smoke, the faint echo of music, and the gentle warmth of the now extinguished fire all created a comforting ambiance, a serene environment for sleep. It was a peaceful end to a peaceful day, a quiet conclusion to a typical evening in a typical Victorian home. The subtle details of this ordinary night offered a stark contrast to the broader historical narratives, showcasing the calmer, quieter realities of family life within the confines of a Victorian household. The sensory experience of the evening, the smells, sounds, and the overall atmosphere, was carefully curated to evoke a sense of calmness and relaxation, reflecting the overall aim of creating a soothing and peaceful narrative. The image of the family, united in their shared quiet joy, represented not only a Victorian evening, but a comforting and serene image, designed to promote relaxation and peaceful sleep. Chapter 4: Reflections on a Bygone Era. The embers in the hearth had long since died down, leaving only a faint scent of wood smoke clinging to the air. The silence of the sleeping Smith household was profound, broken only by the occasional creak of the old house settling for the night. But even in this quietude, the echoes of Victorian England resonated, a testament to the era's indelible mark on the world. The legacy of this bygone age wasn't just confined to the dusty pages of history books. It was woven into the very fabric of modern society, a silent yet pervasive influence shaping our cities, our laws, and our culture. Consider, for a moment, the architectural landscape of any major city. The imposing grandeur of Victorian railway stations with their soaring arches and intricate detailing still stand as monuments to the era's ambitious engineering feats. The elegant terraces of brick and stone, once the homes of the burgeoning middle class, now often serve as reminders of a time when urban planning sought to create aesthetically pleasing and functional neighborhoods. Even the less ostentatious Victorian buildings, the humble terraced houses and the sturdy factories, speak of a period of significant industrial growth and urban expansion, a transformation that continues to influence the way we design and build our cities today. The enduring quality of Victorian architecture, a result of both robust construction techniques and a commitment to aesthetically pleasing design, ensures that these structures remain a visible and tangible link to the past, prompting quiet contemplation on the lives lived within their walls over more than a century. Walking the streets of London or any number of other global cities is like stepping into a living museum, where every structure whispers a story of Victorian ingenuity and ambition. But the legacy of Victorian England extends far beyond its impressive architecture. The era witnessed a period of significant social reform, albeit often uneven and fraught with contradictions. The rise of social movements, spurred by industrialization and its attendant inequalities, led to legislative changes that sought to improve the lives of the working classes. The Factory Acts, for instance, aimed to regulate working conditions for children and women, though their impact was often limited by loopholes and weak enforcement. Similarly, public health reforms, driven by a growing awareness of the link between sanitation and disease, saw the construction of sewers and the improvement of water supplies, transforming the lives of millions by reducing the prevalence of cholera and other deadly illnesses. Although these reforms were frequently slow, halting, and even compromised by vested interests and social prejudice, they set the stage for the progressive social changes of the 20th century, forever altering the relationship between the state and its citizens, and gradually advancing social justice initiatives. The Victorian era's impact on the cultural landscape is equally profound. The proliferation of novels, fueled by advancements in printing technology and a burgeoning readership, resulted in a literary explosion that profoundly shaped the English language and its storytelling traditions. Authors such as Charles Dickens, with their vivid portrayals of social inequities and the struggles of ordinary people, not only provided entertaining narratives, but also functioned as social commentators, prompting public discussion and debate on a range of important issues. The works of these authors, which continue to be widely read and adapted to this day, serve as a testament to their enduring relevance and their insight into the human condition. Their storytelling methodologies and impactful use of character development continue to inspire and instruct budding authors today. The legacy of these writers stretches far beyond the page. They continue to inspire artists and filmmakers, and their words resonate in our collective consciousness, echoing the concerns and dreams of a bygone era. Moreover, the Victorian era saw the rise of the museum as a cultural institution, serving not only as repositories of knowledge and artifacts, but also as sites of public entertainment and education. These institutions, with their collections that showcased both the natural world and human achievements, played a crucial role in shaping public understanding of history, science, and culture, fostering curiosity and inspiring future generations. The museum landscape, carefully curated during the Victorian era, continues to shape our interactions with the past and our understanding of our world today. The methodology employed in building these institutions, the commitment to classification and display, and the emphasis on education are directly attributable to the Victorian period and continue to influence similar initiatives today. However, it is crucial to acknowledge the darker side of the Victorian legacy. The era was characterized by stark inequalities, both social and economic. The vast wealth generated by industrialization was not evenly distributed, resulting in extreme poverty and hardship for many. Colonial expansion of the British Empire, justified by notions of racial superiority, resulted in widespread suffering and exploitation in various parts of the world. These uncomfortable realities must be acknowledged as part of the complete picture of Victorian England, serving as a cautionary tale against complacency and a reminder of the continuing struggle for social justice and global equity. Understanding the complexities and contradictions of this era is paramount to learning from its mistakes and building a more just and equitable future. The legacy of Victorian England isn't solely celebratory. It includes uncomfortable truths, which must be confronted, not ignored, to gain a more nuanced understanding of its profound impact on our contemporary world. The echoes of Victorian England continue to resonate in our daily lives, often subtly and unconsciously. From the layout of our cities to the structure of our legal systems, from the literature we read to the museums we visit, the influence of this remarkable era is pervasive. Understanding its complexities, both its triumphs and its failings, is essential for comprehending the world we inhabit today. The careful examination of its legacy, the examination of its lasting impacts on our social structures, architectural landscapes, and cultural output is paramount to understanding its pervasive and lasting influence. This quiet contemplation allows us to draw valuable lessons from the past, to appreciate the progress that has been made, and to recognize the challenges that still lie ahead in the ongoing pursuit of a more just and equitable society. The Victorian era, in all its complexity and contradictions, remains a subject of enduring fascination, a rich tapestry woven from threads of progress and prejudice, innovation and inequality, a testament to the enduring power of history to shape and inform our present. The legacy of this bygone era continues to unfold, prompting reflection and shaping our future in ways we might not yet fully comprehend. The quiet, even subdued aspects of its inheritance deserve careful consideration, for within them lie the very foundations of much that we take for granted today. The quiet hum of the city, even at night, held a different rhythm then, a slower, more deliberate pulse that belied the frenetic energy of its daytime life. The gas lamps, casting long, dancing shadows down cobbled streets, illuminated a landscape both enchanting and unsettling. It was in this twilight world, between the meticulously manicured gardens of the wealthy and the grimy alleyways of the impoverished, that many of the enduring mysteries of Victorian England unfolded. Unsolved crimes, whispered scandals, and enigmatic figures haunted the fringes of polite society, adding layers of intrigue to the already complex tapestry of the era. One such mystery, frequently debated in hushed tones in drawing rooms and smoky pubs alike, was the Jack the Ripper case. The brutal murders, their chilling precision, and the elusive nature of the perpetrator captivated the nation and continue to fascinate us today. The very lack of definitive answers, the frustrating gaps in the police investigation, and the tantalizing clues that lead nowhere have fueled countless theories and speculations. Was he a butcher, a surgeon, a member of the aristocracy, or something far more sinister? The mystery persists, a chilling reminder of the vulnerability of even the most protected in society, its whispers continuing to echo through the centuries. The case's enduring appeal lies not just in the horror of the crimes themselves, but in the sense of unease it generates. A feeling of unseen evil lurking just beneath the surface of seemingly ordered Victorian life. Even the most mundane aspects of the era, the fog-shrouded streets, gaslit alleys, The anonymity afforded by a rapidly growing metropolis became elements of the narrative, contributing to the ongoing enigma and chilling speculations. Beyond the infamous Ripper, countless other unsolved crimes cast long shadows over the Victorian landscape. The disappearance of individuals, seemingly swallowed by the vastness of London, leaves behind unanswered questions and chilling what-ifs. Were these disappearances simple accidents, acts of foul play, or something far more inexplicable? The lack of comprehensive record-keeping, the limited resources available to law enforcement, and the social inequalities that made some disappearances more easily ignored than others all contribute to the ongoing mystery surrounding many cases from this period. Each case, examined anew by modern investigators and historians, reveals not only the limitations of the Victorian era's crime-solving techniques, but also the enduring human capacity for both cruelty and enigma. The stories, often passed down through generations in hushed whispers, become both cautionary tales and compelling narratives, highlighting the shadows that lurked beneath the veneer of Victorian respectability. Intrigue wasn't confined to the criminal underworld. The world of politics and high society was also rife with hidden scandals and whispered secrets. Affairs, betrayals, and financial misdeeds were often swept under the rug, their traces obscured by a carefully crafted facade of propriety and respectability. The sheer volume of unanswered questions regarding the inner workings of the Victorian elite underscores the complexity of the period. The limitations of contemporary investigative journalism, coupled with the powerful influence and discretion wielded by the upper echelons of Victorian society, often led to a whitewashing of events, leaving future generations to piece together the fragmented clues and interpret the incomplete records that survive. These fragmented records, letters, diaries, and fleeting mentions in newspapers serve as tantalizing glimpses into a world of hidden machinations, reminding us of the enduring human capacity for both deception and self-preservation. Even seemingly mundane aspects of Victorian life hold their own intriguing secrets. Consider the lives of ordinary people, the factory workers, the domestic servants, the street vendors. Their experiences, often undocumented or marginalized in official records, offer a wealth of untold stories and unique perspectives on the era. The lack of accessible records makes it difficult to fully reconstruct their lives, creating a void filled with conjecture and imaginative reconstruction. The very absence of information becomes a source of intrigue, beckoning us to speculate on the joys, struggles, and triumphs of those whose voices were largely unheard. The fragmented narratives unearthed through painstaking research create a mosaic of human experience, offering glimpses into a world largely unseen and misunderstood. The collective lives of these ordinary individuals, imperfectly recorded and forever shrouded in partial mystery, become powerful reminders of the vast, largely untold human drama that unfolded during the Victorian era. The enigmatic personalities who dominated the Victorian landscape further contribute to its enduring fascination. Consider figures like Queen Victoria herself. Her private life, her political maneuvering, her influence on the course of history, all remain subjects of ongoing debate and interpretation. The public image carefully cultivated by the monarchy, juxtaposed against the snippets of private correspondence and less flattering biographical accounts, contribute to a complex and ultimately unknowable persona. Similarly, many Victorian writers, artists, and thinkers continue to be subjects of scholarly debate and reinterpretation. This ongoing reevaluation, this constant unpacking of layers of meaning, is a testament to the enduring influence and fascination of the Victorian era's pivotal figures. The enigmatic nature of these public figures, revealed piecemeal through incomplete records and ever-evolving interpretations, only adds to the allure and continued mystery of the era. The enduring mysteries and intrigues of the Victorian era aren't simply historical curiosities. They're a testament to the complexities and contradictions inherent in any period of significant social, technological, and political transformation. The unsolved crimes highlight the limitations of past investigative techniques and the persistence of injustice. The hidden scandals expose the fragility of respectability and the enduring human capacity for deception. And the lingering questions about prominent figures remind us of the inherent unknowability of even the most thoroughly documented lives. These unsolved mysteries and intriguing aspects of Victorian society are not merely footnotes to history. Rather, they are integral to our understanding of this formative era and its enduring impact on our own time. They encourage us to engage with the past in a more nuanced and critical way, acknowledging the gaps in our knowledge and the inherent limitations of historical record-keeping. It is in these gaps, in these areas of uncertainty and mystery, that the true power and enduring fascination of the Victorian era resides. The lingering questions, the unanswered mysteries, these are the echoes of a bygone age, whispers that continue to intrigue and challenge us to delve deeper into its captivating complexities. The Victorian era, therefore, isn't just a period of history to be studied, it is a living narrative, continually evolving, its secrets slowly and incompletely revealed through meticulous research and determined investigation. The mystery of the Victorian era remains an intriguing puzzle that continues to captivate and challenge us today. The fog, a familiar companion throughout our journey, hangs heavy once more, clinging to the gas lamps like spectral shrouds. We stand, for one last time, at the edge of the Thames, the river mirroring the city's melancholic beauty. The sounds of the city, once a vibrant symphony of horse-drawn carriages, factory whistles, and street vendors' calls, now seem muted, a soft lullaby as we bid farewell to Victorian London. Let's retrace our steps, not in a hurried fashion, but with the leisurely pace of a contemplative wanderer. Remember the bustling marketplaces of Covent Garden, overflowing with exotic fruits, vibrant silks, and the lively chatter of buyers and sellers? The air, thick with the scents of spices and freshly baked bread, a sensory feast that tantalized the palate and invigorated the senses. Now, in our memory, the scene unfolds with a quieter intensity, the vibrant hues softened by the passage of time, yet the energy of the marketplace remains palpable, a testament to the vibrancy of Victorian commerce. We wander past the grand houses of Mayfair, their imposing facades hinting at the opulent lives lived within. The polished mahogany doors, the meticulously kept gardens, the quiet elegance, all whisper tales of wealth, power, and social ambition. Yet, behind those closed doors, secrets whispered, anxiety simmered, and dramas played out in the shadowy corners of domestic life. We remember the glimpses into the lives of the wealthy families, their triumphs and their struggles, their carefully constructed facades masking the complexities beneath. The elegant ballrooms, the formal dinners, the hushed conversations. These scenes, though seemingly perfect, were interwoven with threads of ambition, rivalry, and unspoken desires. Our path takes us through the labyrinthine streets of the East End, a stark contrast to the affluent neighborhoods we've visited. The smoky factories, the cramped tenements, the pervasive poverty. These were realities that define the lives of countless Londoners. Here, the air hangs heavy, with the scent of coal smoke and the lingering smell of unwashed bodies. The sounds are different here, too. The clang of metal on metal from the factories, the cries of children playing amidst the grime, the murmurs of discontent that simmered beneath the surface of daily life. Yet, even in these impoverished streets, we discover resilience, community, and a surprising strength of spirit. The shared struggles forged bonds, and the collective experiences gave rise to a unique culture, rich in its own ways, though starkly different from the polished veneer of high society. Recall the quiet dignity of the domestic servants, their tireless work ensuring the smooth functioning of the grand houses, their lives largely unseen, yet essential to the very fabric of Victorian society. Their stories, often untold, were woven into the very tapestry of the era, their experiences illuminating the unseen layers of Victorian life, the loyalty, the sacrifices, the quiet dignity. All these are part of the enduring legacy of these unsung heroes and heroines. Our journey brings us to the bustling docks, where ships from all corners of the world arrived, laden with goods and passengers. The sounds of the sea, the cries of the sailors, the loading and unloading of cargo. It was a scene of immense activity, a microcosm of the global reach of the British Empire. We remember the smells of the sea, the salt spray, the mix of exotic spices, and the ever-present smell of tar and rope. This was the gateway to the world, a constant reminder of the vastness of the empire and the interconnectedness of global trade. The docks were a place of both opportunity and hardship, a crucible where fortunes were made and lost, where lives were altered irrevocably, and where the hopes and dreams of countless individuals converged. And finally, we return to the quiet contemplation of the gaslit streets, now bathed in the soft glow of twilight. The shadows stretch long and deep, adding an air of mystery to the familiar scenes. The fog, once a hindrance, now feels like a gentle embrace, obscuring the harsh realities of the day and softening the edges of memory. We've witnessed the contrasts, the opulent mansions and the cramped tenements, the refined elegance and the gritty realities, the triumphs and the tragedies. It is in these contrasts that the enduring fascination of Victorian London lies. As we bid farewell to this era, it's not with a sense of sadness, but with a profound appreciation for the rich tapestry of lives that unfolded here. We've walked the cobbled streets, explored the hidden alleyways, and glimpsed into the homes and hearts of those who lived in this bygone age. We've seen the grandeur, the poverty, the resilience, the struggles, the triumphs, the full spectrum of human experience. Victorian London was a city of contradictions, a place of both dazzling beauty and stark inequalities, a period of immense social change and technological innovation, and an era of profound mysteries and unsolved enigmas. It was a city that captivated the imagination, and its legacy continues to inspire, challenge, and fascinate us to this day. The quiet hum of the city, the distant rumble of a carriage, the gentle sigh of the wind, these are the last sounds of our Victorian journey. The memories remain, vivid and clear, a collection of snapshots of a time long past. Each image, each sound, each scent serves as a testament to the human spirit's capacity for both resilience and extravagance, for ingenuity and compassion, for hardship and hope. The Victorian era, with all its complexities, contradictions, and enduring mysteries, remains a captivating period, a testament to the human experience in all its multifaceted glory. The echoes of this era resonate even now, a gentle reminder of a time both near and far, familiar yet strangely foreign. Our final stroll through these gaslit streets is a farewell not just to a city, to a time, a way of life, a collection of stories that continue to whisper through the ages. The mystery of Victorian London, like the city itself, endures, inviting us to explore its intricacies, to delve into its secrets, and to discover the enduring power of a bygone age. As the fog slowly lifts, revealing the dawn of a new day, we carry with us the echoes of Victorian London, a treasure trove of memories, a legacy of stories, and a lingering sense of wonder. The adventure is over, but the memories, like the city itself, will forever remain. The lingering scent of coal smoke, a phantom from our Victorian journey, unexpectedly finds a modern echo in the persistent air pollution of our own cities. Though the source has shifted from factories to automobiles, the struggle for clean air remains a strikingly familiar battle. The Victorian era's rapid industrialization, mirroring our own technological leaps, brought about not only unprecedented progress, but also a cost to the environment, a lesson we continue to grapple with today. The images of children working in factories, their small hands stained with grime, are jarringly similar to modern concerns about child labor in developing nations, a stark reminder that the fight for fair labor practices is a timeless one. The fight for fair wages, safe working conditions, and reasonable working hours continue to resonate in contemporary struggles for workers' rights globally. Consider the Victorian obsession with social status and appearances, the elaborate rituals of etiquette and the rigid class structures. While overt displays of class hierarchy are less pronounced in modern society, the underlying desire for social mobility and the pursuit of status remain potent forces. The aspirational consumerism, so evident in the Victorian love for ostentatious displays of wealth, mirrors today's trends in branding, marketing, and the constant pursuit of the latest and greatest. The Victorian emphasis on respectability, often masking a complex reality beneath a polished exterior, finds parallels in today's social media culture, where carefully curated online personas often conceal personal struggles or anxieties. The anxieties surrounding reputation, so central to Victorian life, persist in our modern digitally driven world, albeit in a different form. The yearning for belonging, acceptance, and validation, however expressed, remains an enduring human need, echoing across eras. The Victorian era's preoccupation with public health, driven by outbreaks of cholera and other diseases, paved the way for advancements in sanitation and public health infrastructure. While the challenges differ, the dedication to improving public health, particularly in densely populated areas, remains a significant focus of modern society. The anxieties surrounding infectious diseases, though the specific illnesses may change, persist in our own time, particularly with the challenges posed by emerging viral outbreaks and antibiotic resistance. The Victorian fascination with germ theory, then a revolutionary concept, resonates today with our own concerns about hygiene and infectious diseases. The parallels are striking, highlighting the continuous need for scientific advancements to address public health challenges. The Victorian fascination with technology and innovation is another parallel to our own times. The steam engine and the telegraph, symbols of Victorian progress, find their counterparts in the digital revolution and the rapid advances in artificial intelligence. While the specific technologies differ greatly, the underlying societal transformations and ethical dilemmas brought about by technological advancements share a startling similarity: the anxieties about job displacement due to automation, a concern present in Victorian times, are now even more acute as technological advancements continue to reshape the job market. The ethical implications of technological advancements, such as concerns about data privacy and algorithmic bias, mirror the Victorian debates regarding the ethical use of new technologies and their potential social impact. The speed of technological change, then as now, has often outpaced our capacity to fully understand and manage its social consequences, highlighting a timeless tension between technological progress and human adaptation. Consider the Victorian fascination with domesticity, the idealized vision of the home as a sanctuary, a haven from the harsh realities of the outside world. This yearning for a peaceful and nurturing home environment resonates powerfully in modern society, though the expression and realization of this ideal may differ. The Victorian emphasis on family values and the importance of the home as a central social unit remains a prevalent theme in contemporary culture. However, the realities of modern life, such as dual-income households and increased work pressure, often challenge the idealized vision of domestic bliss, underscoring the persistent tension between societal aspirations and practical realities. The constant negotiation between work and family, a struggle reflected in the lives of Victorian families, continues to be a major challenge in our modern era. The Victorian era's exploration of social reform, including movements advocating for women's suffrage and the abolition of slavery, continue to inspire modern social justice movements. Though the specific issues may have evolved, the underlying principles of equality, social justice, and the fight against oppression resonate deeply in our own time. The struggles for civil rights, LGBTQ+ rights, and racial equality all draw upon the legacy of Victorian-era reformers and highlight the ongoing need for social progress. The Victorian era's grappling with social inequalities, from poverty to class divisions, continues to be a focus of modern social policy and activism. The ongoing discussions about wealth disparity, poverty reduction, and social mobility reflect the enduring legacy of Victorian-era concerns, highlighting the timeless nature of social challenges. The Victorian era's engagement with these issues reminds us that social progress is an ongoing process, requiring constant vigilance and sustained commitment to building a more just and equitable society. In conclusion, while separated by time and significant technological advancements, the Victorian era and the modern world share surprisingly profound parallels. The echoes of Victorian society resonate in our own times, revealing the enduring nature of many human experiences and anxieties. Understanding the continuities and discontinuities between these eras offers invaluable insights into the complexities of human society, the cyclical nature of social challenges, and the ongoing quest for progress and social justice. The study of Victorian life is not simply an exercise in historical curiosity. It's a mirror reflecting our own times, reminding us that the human condition, with all its triumphs and struggles, continues to unfold, echoing across the ages. The lessons learned from the past offer valuable perspective as we navigate the complexities of the present and shape the future. The enduring legacy of the Victorian era lies not only in its historical significance, but also in its profound relevance to our own time, illuminating the timeless nature of many human struggles and aspirations. The rhythmic clatter of a distant hansom cab, a faint whisper carried on the night air, fades into the gentle hum of a nearby gas lamp. The shadows lengthen, stretching across the cobbled streets of Victorian London, their forms dancing with the flickering flames. The city, once a vibrant tapestry of activity, now settles into a quietude, a hush descending upon its bustling heart. A gentle breeze, carrying the scent of wood smoke and damp earth, stirs the leaves in the nearby squares, their rustling a soft lullaby. Imagine yourself nestled within the confines of a comfortable Victorian bedchamber. The air is cool and crisp, the heavy curtains drawn, shutting out the last vestiges of daylight. The only light emanates from a softly glowing oil lamp, casting a warm amber glow upon the polished mahogany furniture. The ticking of a grandfather clock, a steady, comforting rhythm, punctuates the silence. A worn, well-loved book lies open on the bedside table, its pages filled with tales of adventure and romance, their words now silent, their stories resting. The sounds of the night are a symphony of gentle whispers. The distant rumble of a passing train, the chirping of crickets hidden in the shadows of nearby gardens, the occasional rustle of leaves as a nocturnal creature moves through the darkness. These sounds, normally intrusive, are now strangely soothing, a quiet chorus accompanying the gentle rise and fall of your breathing. Your eyelids grow heavy, your mind slowing its frantic pace, allowing itself to drift along the current of the evening. Think of the warmth of the bedclothes, the soft embrace of the feather pillows, cradling your head as if it were a precious jewel. The weight of the day, its worries and anxieties melt away, replaced by a sense of profound peace. The aches and pains of the body, the tension in your muscles, gradually release their hold, yielding to the soothing embrace of relaxation. Every breath becomes a gentle sigh, a silent release of tension, a slow drift towards oblivion. The image of a bustling Victorian marketplace, once so vivid, begins to fade, replaced by a softer, more tranquil picture. The cacophony of voices, the clamor of carts, the cries of vendors all dissolve into a gentle hum, a background murmur barely audible, like the distant hum of a seashell pressed to your ear. The smoky haze that once hung heavy in the air, a testament to the era's industrial heart, now dissipates, replaced by the clean, fresh scent of night air. Recall the elegance of a Victorian drawing room, the shimmering silks and satins, the gleam of polished silver, the soft glow of candlelight. These images, once so sharp and defined, now soften, their edges blurring, like a watercolor painting left to dry in the gentle caress of a summer breeze. The sounds of polite conversation, the clinking of teacups, the murmur of laughter, all become muted, distant echoes, fading into the quiet serenity of the night. The rigid class structure, the inequalities of Victorian society, the stark contrasts between wealth and poverty, these aspects of the era, so powerfully etched in your memory, now fade into the background, becoming less prominent, less demanding of your attention. They retreat like the receding tide, leaving behind a smooth, calm surface upon which your mind can rest. The anxieties of the Victorian age, the fear of disease, the uncertainty of the future, the struggles of daily life, all recede, losing their sharp edges, their intensity softened by the passage of time and the gentle embrace of sleep. These anxieties are replaced by a sense of quiet contemplation, a gentle acceptance of the present moment. Allow yourself to be carried away by the soothing rhythm of your breathing, the gentle pulse of your heartbeat. Feel the weight of your body sinking into the mattress, your muscles relaxing, your mind emptying itself of thought. Let your awareness expand, encompassing the gentle sounds of the night, the quiet stillness of the room, the soft caress of the air upon your skin. The images of Victorian London, once so vivid and compelling, now become part of the tapestry of your dreams, their details softened, their edges blurred, their intensity muted. They blend seamlessly with the quiet stillness of your sleep, becoming elements of a surreal and peaceful dreamscape. The sounds of the era, once so distinct, now become part of the background music of your unconscious, their echoes merging with the other sounds of the night, forming a harmonious lullaby that guides you into a deep and restful sleep. Think of the quiet contentment of a Victorian family gathered around a warm hearth, their laughter echoing softly through the room. This image, a haven of domesticity, now becomes your own personal sanctuary, a place of peace and tranquility where you can rest and recharge. The sense of warmth and security, the feeling of belonging, pervades your consciousness, soothing your soul and preparing you for slumber. As your mind continues its descent into sleep, allow yourself to fully experience the quiet tranquility of the Victorian night. Imagine the gentle glow of the moon, casting a soft light on the sleeping city, its streets bathed in a silvery luminescence. The stillness of the night envelops you, cradling you in its quiet embrace. The city's slumber is mirrored in your own, a peaceful symphony of rest. The lingering scent of lavender, perhaps from a sachet tucked within the bed linens, a scent associated with relaxation and sleep in the Victorian era, helps to lull you into a deeper state of repose. The gentle, rhythmic breathing, the slow, steady pulse of your heart, these are the anchors to your peaceful descent into sleep. The sounds of the Victorian night, the distant chiming of a church bell, the gentle rustling of leaves, become mere background whispers, adding a layer of soothing texture to the blanket of silence that descends upon you. Feel the weight of your body sinking deeper into the mattress, becoming one with the comforting support beneath you. Your muscles relax, releasing their tension. Your mind lets go of the day's anxieties, allowing them to gently drift away like clouds in a tranquil sky. The quiet of the night surrounds you, protecting you, nurturing you as you drift towards a peaceful and restorative sleep, your dreams populated by the softened images and muted sounds of Victorian London. The weightlessness of sleep embraces you fully now, pulling you gently into its embrace. The world outside fades, the sounds of the city diminishing to a distant hum. Your body rests, your mind stills, and you are left with a quiet, profound sense of peace, a tranquility undisturbed, a perfect slumber under the watchful eye of a Victorian moon. The echoes of the era remain, soft and comforting, a gentle lullaby leading you to the peaceful shores of sleep. Let the quiet beauty of a Victorian night settle over you and drift off to sleep.